How can people be expected to have faith in Trump if he won't release the Epstein files? That post by Elon Musk this afternoon gets at a serious question, prompted by MAGA fans, among others, after the Justice Department asserted in a memo that convicted sex offender and multimillionaire Jeffrey Epstein did not blackmail high-profile clients, was not murdered before he was found dead in his jail cell in 2019, and in fact had no client list. Despite the fact that the very same administration officials are now asserting there is no there there, many of them were the ones ginning up the controversy before President Trump was reelected and while they were in office. The Justice Department memo, first obtained by Axios, also comes 1 month after the billionaire Tesla founder took to his platform X as his alliance with President Trump dissolved. Quote, "Time to drop the really big bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason why they have not been made public," unquote. Musk deleted that post 2 days later, but the new memo has Musk posting this meme, among others. It's a guy putting on progressively more clown makeup with the text, "We will release the Epstein list. We just need more time. The Epstein list is on my desk. There is no Epstein list," with full clown regalia. The desk part refers to a February clip. The list is on my desk. A February clip from Fox that was played.
Hey, everybody, how you doing?
Hit
that like button. Let's go.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
But here was Attorney General Bondi
On
earlier
the deck,
today.
right?
I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
Trump was asked about the memo today by a New York Post reporter, and he expressed indignation.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
Mr. President, the reason people are talking about this guy is because people serving in the highest levels of your administration have been talking about this guy for years.
And now let's take a look at who this guy actually is. This guy that they're talking about is this guy, Jeffrey Epstein. This is some deposition footage that I think everybody can hear.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Please state your full name.
I'm Jeffrey Edward Epstein, and my residence address is 6100 Red Hook Boulevard in Virgin Islands.
Hit
Do
the
you
like button,
maintain
guys.
any other residences presently?
I have vacation homes in New Mexico, Palm Beach, New York, and Paris.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
We have some never before seen footage today on
What
the
was
show.
the crime of which you were convicted?
Two counts, one soliciting prostitution and procuring a minor for prostitution.
Did you in fact commit those acts?
I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution?
Same answer.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution in the state of Florida?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution in the Virgin Islands?
Same answer.
That is, you are invoking your Fifth Amendment.
Yes, right. Yes, Mr. Squirrel.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New York?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New Mexico?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in Paris?
We got all kinds
Same
of coverage
answer.
today. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share. Jump in the chat.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution anywhere at any time?
Let's
Again,
go.
I'm going to assert my right.
Let's take
Did you
another
ever?
break. We're going to go off the record.
So you are terminating the deposition at this time?
The recess of the deposition.
What college did you attend?
Cooper Union.
And did you get a degree
This
from
is
Cooper
a
Union?
Jeffrey
No, sir.
Epstein
How many years were you in college?
deposition. Welcome,
two.
everybody.
What'd you study?
Physics.
Hit the like button, subscribe, and
Well,
share.
isn't it true that you were a teacher at the Dalton School? in New York?
Now, remember, he was given this position as a teacher at the Dalton School in New York by William Barr's father, Donald.
After college?
It's just unheard of. It's just an unbelievable scheme to.
There it is right there. That is the face of evil, ladies and gentlemen. There you see it. Plain as day.
Have kept going for that long of a period of time.
Do you consider yourself to be bisexual?
No.
Okay. In any event, you did develop a sexual relationship with Leslie Wexner at some point in time. Is that true?
No.
Mr. Epstein, how long have you been sexually attracted to underage minor females?
Objection, harassing, argumentative. Are you kidding?
No, I mean, I don't feel like I'm divulging any secrets here, right?
Move to strike.
Mr. Epstein, were you sexually abused as a minor?
Wait, again?
Were you sexually abused as a minor?
You know, I'd like to respond to all your, if any, questions seem to be relevant, but I would like to respond to any relevant question at this
405 in the
However,
building.
my
Hit the
attorneys
like
have
button for me,
counseled that I
guys.
cannot provide answers to
I'm
the
bringing you
questions
some
relevant
footage
to this
today you've
lawsuit
never
today.
seen
I
before.
must accept their advice or risk losing my Sixth Amendment right to effective representation.
510.
Accordingly, then, I assert my Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment right to the United States Constitution.
Oh, we got a lot for you, man. Minky. Minky.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Minky's in the chat.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Look
It's
at that.
unsettling.
Look at that. Oh, that face, that evil.
Complaint filed by Virginia Roberts against you. Isn't it true, sir, that a friend of yours sent you 3 12-year-old females for you to sexually abuse on one of your birthdays?
And that was Jean-Luc Brunel who allegedly
harassing,
sent those girls.
And irrelevant to this lawsuit. But you're saying it's part of the lawsuit?
Yeah, I'll read it directly.
It was Jeffrey's birthday one.
On one of defendant Epstein's birthdays, a friend of defendant Epstein sent him 3 12-year-old girls from France who spoke no English for defendant to sexually exploit and abuse after.
Put a 1 in the chat if you think he is deceased. Put a 2 in the chat if you think that he is still alive.
Doing so, they were sent back to France the next day. Isn't that true?
Once again, I'm going to move to strike. Irrelevant, argumentative, harassing.
And if you're on a mobile device, by the way, I'm going to give you a boop, boop right there. I'm going to boop your nose. You could boop. Go ahead. Tap twice right here. Give me a double boop right there on the nose if you're in your mobile device. Boop.
I would like to answer that question. I really would. However, today, my attorneys have told me I have to assert my Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, and 14th Amendment rights of the U.S. Constitution.
You're invoking your Fifth Amendment rights to each of these questions because you know that your answers will incriminate you and you feel that it will result in you being prosecuted for these crimes. Isn't that right?
Objection, argumentative, harassing, and calls for a legal conclusion. No, in fact, the Supreme Court recently said that the Fifth Amendment right is there to protect the innocent. So that's the way I'd like to answer that.
Are you released from jail at some time? Do you have to report back to jail
Now,
on a
this
daily
was his work release program. He was allowed to leave jail after being convicted.
basis?
Yes, I report back to jail at 8 p.m.
Every single day?
And make sure you hit
And
the
is it
like
7
button
days a
and
week
subscribe
that
to
you're
the
out
channel.
on work release?
No, sir.
How many days a week are you out on work release?
6.
And of those 6 days, how many hours per day are you out on work
I
release?
feel good today.
12.
We're back on the video record at 12:02 p.m.
Let's talk about Jane Doe 102, Virginia Roberts. Do you know Virginia Roberts?
That's true, Mr. Smirnoff.
So she's, again, who?
Virginia Roberts.
Can you spell it?
Common spelling. Virginia, like the state.
Can you spell it for me, please?
Roberts.
What's the last name? How's it spelled?
Roberts, I believe. Isn't it true that you and Ghislaine Maxwell celebrated her 16th birthday with her and had sex with her on that day?
Form, compound, confusing, argumentative, and harassing. I'd like to answer that question. But today, I'm going to have to assert my Sixth Amendment rights, my Fifth Amendment rights.
Is it true that you forced Virginia Roberts to have sex with numerous friends of yours?
And he will plead the fifth on that. We are going to get back to watching some more Epstein that you've never seen. But let's hear a little more about the Trump administration.
The list needs to be released. Here's then Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance in October 2024.
And how they are handling.
Everybody in politics has a vice that's much worse than alcoholism, is the way that I put it. But we
release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Here's Kash Patel on a podcast just over a year before he became FBI director.
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
Dan Bongino, a former Secret Service agent turned right-wing podcaster, is now the FBI deputy director. Here he is on his show in February. He was named deputy director just a few weeks later.
I'm not ever going to let this story go because of what I heard from a source about Bill Clinton on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not letting it go ever. Ever.
Bill Clinton's spokesperson released a statement in 2019 saying that the former president, quote, knows nothing about the terrible crimes. We should note the presence of one's name in the files does not mean they were involved in any way.
This is true.
In sex trafficking or having sex with any of Epstein's
But they got to
victims.
be asked.
Here's Alina Habba, now interim U.S. attorney for New Jersey. This is her in February.
In this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
So where are they?
Is it going to be shocking?
Where are they?
I don't see how it's not shocking.
I'm shocked that none of that's been released. In February this year, Attorney General Bondi teased the imminent arrival of the Epstein files, and President Trump's eldest son, Don Jr., posted about the news, quote, LFG, an acronym for Let's Effing Go. A week later, the Trump administration invited a slew of conservative MAGA influencers to the White House, purporting to give them a first look at a batch of documents labeled the Epstein Files Phase 1, but none of it was a smoking gun. The vast majority of the information had already been made publicly available. CNN's Evan Perez reported in March that Attorney General Bondi directed FBI agents, in some cases, to drop their work on China and Iran and focus on redacting the files before their release. Remember, Trump made part of this his platform. Here he is during the 2024 campaign.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
So what's really going on here? I mean, what's really going on? Well, experts such as our friend Julie Brown from the Miami Herald, who has been covering Epstein for years, say that the notion of Epstein having an easy-to-access client...
And Julie Brown was the one who initially broke the Epstein story, and we're going to talk about Vanity Fair in a little bit.
...list is likely a red herring. And that's what the Trump administration is relying on, that there likely isn't a list per se. But they are also now relying on the fact that because it's MAGA influencers, who often put forward so many falsehoods, legacy news media won't push the point, that while there might not be a list, there are certainly files that can be released. There's a trove of information that the Trump administration is right now refusing to share. Information that could well point to the powerful folks who availed themselves of the sex trafficking victims of Jeffrey Epstein. If you go, for example, to the FBI vault online, you can see that there are 22 files containing thousands of pages. Most of them are heavily redacted.
Look at how heavily redacted these files are. How is anybody supposed to get anything out of this?
Of course, redact the names and identifying characteristics of the victims. But why not make the victim testimonies public? As Julie Brown points out, there's still so much we don't know, from the investigations by U.S. attorneys in Miami and in New York, witness interviews in the U.S. Virgin Islands and New Mexico, Brown writes that there's still more evidence that hasn't been published, including, quote, Epstein kept video cameras in most of his residences, and Epstein's autopsy, nor the report of the investigation into his death, has been made public. So while there may not be an official client list to be released, as the administration is now saying, there's a lot of extra information that is not being made public, despite Trump's Justice Department basically now saying case closed. This isn't going to go away.
And Pam Bondi went on television and said, I have a videotape of kids getting abused. I followed this case closely, and I know a lot of the people involved, as I've told you.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. I didn't know that. Really? Thousands of children got raped? Yeah. Who raped them? Where are the rapists? Like, why aren't they in jail? What? This is the Department of Justice.
Yes, yes.
That is so crazy. This is honestly one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And I just think it's very dangerous to play around with this stuff. Like, very dangerous.
Well,
I don't want a revolution, but if you wanted a revolution, this is how you would act.
All right, Jamal, what do you think hearing that from Tucker?
Well, first of all, Tucker is being dangerous by alluding to something like a revolution when we're talking about the MAGA people, because we know that MAGA forces have been willing to use violence in pursuit of their political aims. We saw it on January 6th. You know, Gretchen said something a second ago about is Trump covering for Pam Bondi. But the question also may be, is Pam Bondi covering for Trump? We just really don't know. Donald Trump has been very forceful. He's a great television performer. When the question of Epstein comes up, every time he dissembles, he attacks the reporter. Remember before, he'll release the UFO files, he'll release the JFK files. Will you release the Epstein files? Well, I don't know if we should, do that. Innocent people may get wrapped up in that. I just think something's going on here. We got to keep asking the questions until we find out what's really happening, and they should just release the files.
I mean, right. I mean, that seems to be the point, Gretchen. At this point, and this is something that has been spun up, right, by some of the very people who are now saying, I mean, when Kash Patel and Dan Bongino came out recently and tried to downplay the Epstein files, they were eviscerated by the MAGA base, right? And now this is putting the whole thing on steroids. Far-right activist Laura Luma, Gretchen, we know Trump listens to her. She has been hammering Pam Bondi on social media. She posted, how come we can't talk about what a dumb, lying bimbo Pam Bondi is? JD Vance, please encourage President Trump to fire Pam Bondi. She's a disgrace. So what do you hear when you hear this? I mean, look, Laura Loomer, we know, has had very specific, tangible influence on Trump on big decisions.
Yes, in national security, specifically in the last few months. I do think she has Trump's ear. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Trump seemed to be protecting Bondi today. But I think one other really important point is in this second administration, we have seen a lot of MAGA supporters of Trump come out and be totally
against. Let me hear you in the chat. What do you think they're hiding? What do you think they're hiding? Be specific. What do you think they're hiding?
Against him on really big issues. And what I think is fascinating is that he can go after people
or is this all part of a bigger trap?
Like lawyers,
I don't know.
Like members of Congress. I'll primary you if you don't agree with me. But with these single influencers, he's not doing that. And I think that raises a huge question about whether or not he has the power to actually silence them.
Right. And Jamal, I guess the whole question is there really no there? Or is the question, who is covering up for whom?
Is there really no there? We're going to look into some Elon Musk right now. We've got some breaking stuff, a breaking story about the Trump administration, about some information about Elon Musk here. So let's get it.
I had a very troublesome ending. I enjoyed working with Elon. I think he's a fascinating person and sees the world differently. And I think that's probably what the president saw too. Oh, he's the world's richest man, might be the world's smartest man, honestly.
Yeah.
And he does have a quirky, approach to the way he views virtually everything, but certainly business and organizations and government.
Wow, this is not Donald Trump.
If she had held up her hands, you would have seen the kid gloves on.
This is not Donald Trump.
Complimentary still.
If Donald Trump becomes his enemy, he is the world's dumbest man. And what is going on here?
I don't know, but I know there's someone who definitely has an opinion or two about it. That would be our good friend Michael Knowles from the Michael Knowles Show.
All right, Michael,
Michael,
going to give us some
welcome
insight.
back. What's going on with the, I mean, this is kid not, gloves is this not is the not way Donald Trump Trump's works. MO for people who lash out
Everybody
at him.
always accuses Trump of being a total hothead and reactionary, and he did send out a few tough tweets about Elon, no doubt. But generally, both he and Susie Wiles and the whole White House have been very restrained, which is good because nobody on the right benefits from a Trump-Musk fight. There are plenty of fights that President Trump can pick that are great. They're great for both sides. You know, he's picking a fight with Zohran Mamdani in New York. That's great. Mamdani benefits, Trump benefits. But on the right, we like Elon. Elon's great. Elon helped Trump win the election. Elon bought Twitter for us, so we had at least one social media platform we could speak freely on. Elon, he's terrific. We like him.
But dude,
we don't like the two of them fighting, so maybe they can just go their separate ways.
The fight's going on. Elon is starting a third party. Elon is going after Trump. So the fight's already started. Donald Trump never shies away from a fight. It's going on. So is he just going to get pummeled?
As you mentioned earlier, you know, Elon comes out, he just goes, after he's shown out of the White House, he just goes full bore at Trump. He even says, you know, Trump won't release the Epstein files because he's on the list. He then retracted that tweet. He then apologized. There were sources reported at the White House who were speaking to him, and he felt he went a little too far. And then Trump pulled it back a little too. He said, Elon's going totally crazy. Then he pulled it back a little bit too. So there's this fight. And then, as you say, it's come out with this new political party, the America Party. I'm fine with the America Party. It's no big deal.
Why?
Here, I'll tell you exactly why. Because everyone's saying that the America Party is going to pull votes from the Republicans and Trump. I don't think that's true at all.
Just want to, you know, somebody had just mentioned this photograph here, and don't forget this photograph of Elon and Ghislaine. All right, this is a photograph here of Elon and Ghislaine together. There have been a lot of different explanations about this photograph, but I don't know which one is going to be good enough at this point.
That might be the purpose. That might be what people in the media think is going to happen. No, the America Party is essentially fiscally conservative, socially liberal. Nobody holds that view. That libertarian opinion is held by statistically 0 people in America. I think, if anything, it'll take a few more votes away from the Dems than the Republicans. It's not going to matter. I have no problem with it. If that's what it takes for Elon and Trump to make up and just go their separate ways, give me the America Party.
So, Michael, listen.
This is some blood sport going on here in politics, right? Like it's not.
I am not just fascinated now, I'm obsessed with Trump's reaction to a question yesterday about the Epstein files, whether they exist or not. Pam Bondi now says they do not exist, although
the file
she said
exists,
something
but there's no
different.
list.
Hit that
There's no
guys,
list.
subscribe and share this out. People need to know this. We're going to dig into things that people aren't looking at right now.
But she seemed to say there was a list in February on Fox, and now she says there's not a list. So a reporter asked a question. He railed on this reporter, saying, how dare you ask that question? Why are you not focused on Texas and our successes? And he was so determined to shut this reporter down. I know, I have sources that are telling me, even though Trump was on one of the flight lists, there's nothing behind it in the file. So why?
There are a lot of people that spent time with Epstein that it was purely financial or for business. Not everybody was a deviant, and not everybody knew.
Why is Trump lashing out this way in a very uncharacteristic way about the Epstein file?
I think you're totally right. I think right now the left is going and saying Trump's seriously implicated in the file. There's no evidence of that. If that were true,
and
the
let
Democrats.
me know where in the world you guys are viewing from, huh? I'd love to know where you are. So let me know in the chat.
Would have released it last administration. That's not it. The reason is, and I think the reason why Trump is so
broadcasting live from Los Angeles, California.
So angry about this is we were never going to get the Epstein files. There was a list, then there wasn't a list, then there were clients, there aren't any clients. Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for trafficking girls to nobody, I guess. It's all kind of silly. It's preposterous. But we were never going to get the files because either the official story is true and Epstein was just a rich sex freak and all those rich and famous people had nothing to do with him, or he was tied up with intelligence, as Alex Acosta reportedly said, or he was interwoven with all of these heads of state and billionaires and all the rest.
Right.
And if that's the case, we were never going to get the file. I suspect, and this is pure speculation, I think Trump is irritated because he's had a lot of big wins domestically, foreign policy, on immigration, on the economy, all these things. He wants to be talking about that. And he knows that he is constrained by statecraft from going any further with the Epstein case, that if you reveal all the most wealthy, powerful people in the world tied up with this thing, you could unravel the entire world order. He just can't do it. Biden couldn't do it. No one's going to do it. And so he wants to move on.
So what you're saying then is you believe there is a list, but there are, it's sort of like the Kennedy assassination where they said we can't handle the truth. You're saying it exists.
Well, I don't think there's a list like, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the back of a napkin, but I think the guy had clients, wouldn't you say? I mean, if he didn't have clients, then Ghislaine Maxwell should be let out of prison today. Obviously,
well, that's what some people are saying.
Yeah, but what we
of
need
course,
to look for
but no,
are the
obviously he had associates. I think the JFK comparison is so apt. I remember at the time they said, "Here's 60,000 pages of the JFK files." I said, "I'm not going to read it. I don't want to talk about it. Don't yell at me for not talking about it." There's nothing in it because if any of these conspiracies are true, that JFK were offed by the CIA mob, Israelis, Soviets, Cubans, whatever, George Bush, Lyndon Johnson, if any of that were true, you would never hear about it. There is not radical transparency all the time in statecraft.
I agree.
Governments have to be able to keep secrets.
And everybody's voice matters here. All right? Everybody's voice matters here.
That's what's going on. And if
can Donald Trump keep a secret? Apparently.
The man is more discreet than he gets credit for, but he's not hiding his emotions here. He's saying, look, I got all these big wins. I'm trying to do the responsible thing. I can't release this list. People are yelling at me. Why can't we talk about the border or whatever? But let me, one promise to everybody watching right now, and you're going to hate it, and it's a hard truth, and you're going to yell at the TV. You will never get the Epstein list. Just like you're never going to get the supposed JFK files. It's not. If you hold your breath for that, your blood oxygen is going to drop to nothing.
And that's what fuels conspiracy theories like JFK that go on for decades and decades and decades.
But I don't think that's a theory. I think that's a fact. And I think Michael's saying this may well be a fact as well. Really? Interesting.
I don't know a lot of guys who just accidentally have...
Hit the like button for me, guys.
A creepy sex island in the Caribbean with the richest, most powerful people in the world, and just it's all a big misunderstanding. I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe I'm a little innocent or something, but I think where there's smoke, there's probably a little fire.
Double tap.
You are an interesting guy, Michael.
All right.
No,
thanks for throwing some fuel on the fire.
Honestly.
And we're going to get out of here now.
All right.
Thanks, Michael.
So some interesting coverage there. Some more comments here. I'm going around all sides here. I'm showing you everything. I want you to make your own decisions based upon what you see here. I'm not trying to tell you what to think.
In Florida, Epstein, a frequent topic at a summit hosted by the conservative group Turning Point USA.
The reason why we wanted Trump to be president is because he's supposed to get rid of the corruption, drain the swamp, not to protect people that are in Jeffrey Epstein's files.
The uproar comes after Attorney General Pam Bondi, the DOJ, and FBI issued an unsigned memo that said there is no additional evidence to reveal in the Epstein case. That enraged many in the MAGA base who are accusing Bondi and the Trump administration of a cover-up.
Well, there are some
in a sign of where things stand, Bondi joining President Trump at the FIFA Club World
very
Cup final.
Sensitive about some people who are actually involved in some intelligence operations that are ongoing. You never know what you can believe, right?
Job. Let's not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein.
Put it all on the table.
But that hasn't quieted the fervor or the questions. A source who has spoken to Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino tells NBC News that Bongino is threatening to quit and torch Pam unless she's fired.
Do you have confidence in Attorney General Pam Bondi?
I do. America is safer with Pam Bondi as Attorney General.
Still, Elon Musk, once a close Trump ally and now a frequent critic, posting that the president should just release the files as promised.
NBC's Michelle Sindor with that report. So joining us now, Glenn Thrush, who reports on the Justice Department for the New York Times.
And we're going to step through here to a Joe Rogan interview with Elon Musk discussing the Epstein files.
With this Epstein files?
Yeah, what's up with that?
What is up with that? It was like,
yeah,
it's like Lucy and the football with Charlie Brown when she always pulls that football away. It's the same thing. It's like they keep telling us they're going to release it day one. Oh, day
we have
one.
a serious case of no one's being arrestitophobia, you know.
Well, there's also right.
Like, what the fuck is going on?
What the fuck is going on? Also, there's this real fear that someone's destroying the evidence, and you keep hearing these stories, unsubstantiated stories.
Yeah.
Of FBI people.
Well, where is the
shredding
evidence? I mean, the guy
what's
had
going
like
on.
tons of videos and recordings.
Yeah.
I mean, he had all sorts of things.
Right.
Like, there's a mountain of evidence.
Right.
So where is that mountain?
Yeah, where is that mountain? And what would be the reason why they would agree? Like, there would have to be something in it for them to agree to not put it out. Right? Like, there has to be some sort of financial entanglement, some sort of relationship with the people that are on that list.
Yeah.
That they can provide a value that was big enough for you to not release it or to slow release it or to hope you can get away with like putting out some redacted files that don't show anything.
Yeah.
This is only
a whole
stage
bunch of
one.
redacted.
Only stage one. Don't worry. The real stuff's coming. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why wouldn't you just release it all? Like, what could possibly be worth protecting in there?
I mean, I think I've got probably the same information that, I mean, I'm just reading what's the latest thing on the X, I'm just looking at my X feed and I'm like,
yeah,
it's a real page turner. And like, I thought we were going to get some revelations today. I was like, big binders full of stuff.
Yeah.
There's got to be something in there.
Well, there was all those people that were given a copy of it. They were all like waving it around like they got the Willy Wonka ticket.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And what happened?
Nothing.
Nothing.
So
I think Laura Loomer released it online. I think. Right?
Yeah, she's not very pleased about this.
So does anybody find anything in there that's interesting?
No, it's all old stuff from 2015 and 2021.
Okay, what the fuck is going on?
But then apparently they discovered a whole bunch of stuff at the Southern District of New York.
Right.
So that's and then I'm like, and I mean I think Pam Bondi is actually great and Kash Patel are great, but they just got there,
Right.
So then they just got there, but they're in a hostile environment. They're not in a friendly environment.
Right.
So it's like if you suddenly got put in captain of a ship, but the crew was previously your enemy.
Right.
The entire crew was
Right.
previously your enemy.
Right.
And
you're telling them, give me evidence.
Yeah, the crew doesn't want to give you the
That
evidence.
shows you
because
guys
the
are all
crew is your
criminals.
enemy.
It's a
They
good
were like
point.
your mortal enemies just a moment ago. You just got there.
Yeah.
So I think we got to give the Attorney General and new director of the FBI a little bit of slack here because they literally just got there.
I think so too, but hey, don't say you're going to release it on day one then.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have said that.
Sure.
And don't say you got a big drop coming tomorrow, and that's some bullshit that's been around forever.
It's disappointing.
Yeah, and where's the JFK files? Where are those?
Yeah.
Let them go.
Did they release anything on that front?
I don't know what's going on. It can't be anything that's gotten to me yet. So if nothing's gotten to me yet, it can't be significant.
If there's conspiracy evidence, someone's going to send it to you.
Yes, Tim Dillon's going to text me. 100%.
Yeah.
Tim Dillon, Dave Smith, someone's going to send it my way.
Somebody's going to send you the stuff.
Yeah, so it hasn't been released yet.
There's no way.
Yeah. You would find
Hit
out.
the like button, guys.
Here's the real question.
Share
Like,
this
what
out
could
and
even be in
subscribe.
there at this point that they haven't cleared out? If you've got paperwork from 1963, like what is in there still? What is in there that could possibly be incriminating that supposedly Trump said that if you saw what they showed me, you wouldn't release it either? Okay, what the fuck is that?
I haven't seen it, so.
Kash Patel has.
Yes?
He said he's seen it all. Yeah.
He just posted to his X account or something. I mean,
that sounds like an Elon move. I don't think he can.
Yeah.
He's
I mean,
the director of
some
the FBI. I think he has to go through proper channels. And
does he? He has the channel.
Yeah, but there's rules. Sounds like Trump. You sound like Trump. He needs an executive order.
What
Wait a
about
minute.
the storm? I am the storm. I mean, what channels? He has the channel.
Well, again, imagine just getting to the hull or just getting to the deck of the ship, and you're the captain.
Yeah.
And now you have to figure out who's running things, who's doing this, where is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just getting anything done, like I said, you just joined as captain of a ship where the crew hate your guts.
Yeah, they were your enemy.
Yeah, they were your enemy.
Yeah.
They're strongly opposed to anything you want to do.
Yeah.
And you're trying to give them orders.
And you're trying to expose them.
Yeah, they don't want to be exposed.
Right. You're literally people that are working there are probably a part of this problem.
I mean,
and understandably so. You're going into a hostile environment. It's a new world. People have been there for decades trying to cover these things up, and here we are. Going to go over to the island for a second. All right.
Today on the latest child sex charges lodged against him. Epstein's arrest last week has put the spotlight
and this was from a few years back, right after Epstein's arrest. We're taking you back to show you some of the things that, well, people maybe forgot about.
Private Caribbean island he owns, one that some have dubbed.
And I have some never before seen footage coming up in just a little bit. So hang out, guys. Hit the like button.
The island of sin. Our Lisa Guerrero traveled to the Virgin Islands for this look.
It's your first look at disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein's private island. The only way to get to the island in the Virgin Islands is by boat. And there it is, Jeffrey Epstein's 70-acre retreat known as Little St. James. We've launched a drone up right now. We're trying to get a better look at the island. From above, we see a large American flag. There are multiple structures, pools, and a helipad. Palm trees line the beach. He reportedly had them shipped in and planted at $20,000 per tree. The structure behind me is the main building on this island, and it has hosted American politicians, world dignitaries, and it's also the location that is alleged to have housed these wild orgies. One mystery is this white and blue striped building that looks like a temple. It used to look like this, with a gold dome, but it was lost during a storm. So what's inside? Reportedly, it's a music room where Epstein played the piano. Captain, can you take us in for a closer look? Near shore, we climb aboard a dinghy. This looks like an island paradise, but what allegedly happened here to teenage girls was horrific. Suddenly, a member of Epstein's staff appears when I step off. Sir, is this where the young girls were brought? So this man is now asking us to leave. He's kicking us off the island, so we're going to go. Epstein's bail hearing was held in New York today. Stephen Fabian is there.
Inside the courtroom, the biggest moment came when two of Epstein's alleged victims spoke out, detailing when they say Epstein sexually abused them both, one at age 16, the other age 14.
Ugh.
I spoke to lawyer David Boyes, who represents several women who claim to be Epstein's victims. What do you know about that private island that they refer to as Sin Island? Do you know anything that happened on that island?
A lot of really bad stuff.
A lot of really bad stuff. Absolutely. A lot of really bad stuff. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go to 5 Epstein revelations here. All right. Let's take a look.
She told me basically that you just go and you give him a massage for about an hour and for $200.
Some of the victim testimony here.
Obviously, that sounds a little too good to be true. And
accused sexual predator Jeffrey Epstein has been dead for 5 years, but we are still learning more information about his life and alleged crimes, including from newly released evidence this week out of Florida that really may send chills down your back. We've been digging through these materials and want to discuss more shocking new details. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
And this is Sidebar with Jesse Weber.
We first
Great
told
channel.
you about this new release of evidence earlier this week in the Jeffrey Epstein story.
And they're doing a lot of
deceased
great
financier.
coverage.
The judge.
So make sure you go give these guys a follow over at Law and Crime. Great channel.
Delgado, who released these materials, called Jeffrey Epstein, quote, the most infamous pedophile in American history, and said that the evidence contained in the videos, audio recordings, and documents was sickening, and it really is. This, by the way, was pursuant to a bill signed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis that authorized release of grand jury materials. And that's what this is. These are materials that center around when the Palm Beach Police Department had opened up an investigation into Jeffrey Epstein back in 2005 and what was presented to a grand jury in 2006. Now, we recall that the parents of a 14-year-old girl came forward accusing the millionaire financier of paying her to give him a massage. That's how all this started. The police, they found out that Epstein had allegedly set up a system to recruit girls to provide him massages and sometimes engage in sexual activity. These girls would not only be paid for services they provided, but they were also seemingly paid to bring more girls to Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, at one point, he allegedly told one victim, the younger, the better. So what happened? Well, the case was brought to the state attorney's office. A grand jury was impaneled where the juries heard all sorts of testimony from detectives and two of the alleged victims. And the grand jury ended up indicting Epstein in 2006 on felony solicitation of prostitution. That's it. And there have been a lot of arguments about this, right? Why didn't prosecutors pursue more aggressive charges? Why was this the only one? And of course, we know how this went. Right? The Palm Beach Police Department chief.
And we're jumping right to
Palm
the
Beach
evidence
County
release
State Attorney
here.
Dave Arenberg. But now we're going to cover 5 horrific details from this release. And remember, the release of these documents happened after years of litigation from the Palm Beach Post and other media outlets who wanted to know what happened. They wanted to know what happened regarding these grand jury proceedings.
So these are going to be 5 very particular points about the Epstein case, some of the 5 most disturbing points of the Epstein case.
Up to it.
Hit that like.
Now, one of the biggest parts of the evidence release has been videos. And there's footage of Palm Beach law enforcement serving a search warrant at Epstein's home while Epstein was away. The videographer walks through the house, giving us a sense of the layout, as well as some of the more disturbing decorating choices, that's one way of putting it, like artwork and photos of young nude girls. Now, I will tell you, unfortunately, some of the audio clips that were part of this release, they're just unusable. You essentially can't understand anything that's being made out, so we won't play those for you. But what we will start talking about are redacted interviews with victims who came down to the police department to speak with detectives.
First of all, again, I appreciate you coming down to talk to me. You're not in any trouble whatsoever.
Okay.
I just want to put that out there right now.
Okay.
You're not in any trouble whatsoever. The reason why I wanted to talk to you is I am conducting an ongoing investigation for quite some time now on a subject by the name of Jeffrey Epstein.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And through my investigation, I do know that you have some knowledge and you've been at the house, and that's what I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
And again, I'm saying you're not in any trouble. Okay? You're not a suspect. You're a witness, possibly a victim, but I do want to talk to you. Okay? All right. Before we start, can you raise your right hand for me?
Yeah.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. How did you meet Mr. Epstein?
Through a friend.
Through a friend.
Mm-hmm.
What school were you going to when you?
I wasn't in school when I met him. I had already graduated.
You already graduated?
Yes.
Okay. How old are you now?
19.
19. How long ago did you meet him?
About a year, I'd say, maybe a little over a year.
Right
around a year.
Okay. Again, I've talked to a lot of girls,
Mm-hmm.
30, almost 40 girls so far, and so I know pretty much when he takes you to the house what transpires. Okay. I know it might be a little embarrassing or whatever, but don't be. Like I said, I've talked to many people already, and are pretty much familiar as to what happened in the house. Okay. Walk me through this when you went to his house for the first time.
Okay. She took me over to the house. She waited downstairs. I just went up, gave him a massage, and that was it. I mean.
Okay. She approached you to
Yeah,
work?
she's like, oh, do you need to make any extra money? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, I can give you, like $200. It's this older guy in Palm Beach. He gets a lot of massages from girls. That was really, that's all she told me. That's what I mean.
Okay. Are you a licensed therapist or masseuse therapist?
No, I'm not licensed, no.
No, but you know how to give massages? Okay. Is this something that you did on the side, or is this...
Only, I mean, no, just like for him. That was really it.
All right.
Thank
you.
you.
What else is
It happens.
very disturbing from these interviews, aside from the fact that you hear how young they are, even when they're speaking?
I thought I was going to sneeze.
Was how their stories were all consistent, how their stories seemed to match up. Here's part of an interview
all
with
of their
another victim.
stories were consistent.
She told me about this guy I was short on rent 1 month, and she told me that all I had to do was give him a massage and he would give me $200.
So investigators interviewed 30 to 40 girls. He just said this a few minutes ago.
And that's pretty much it. And I thought about it. I was like, I really need the money. I've asked my parents. They can't give me the money. I asked everyone I knew. And I went there with her. I gave him a massage, and it was a weird situation.
And the audio here isn't as clear, but listen to what another victim told detectives.
A friend of mine told me about Jeffrey. She said she was helping him find girls.
Who was this friend?
This is their audio, not mine.
We're not friends anymore, though, so you can't mention my name to her. And she told me basically that you just go and you give him a massage for about an hour and for $200. And obviously that sounds a little too good to be true, and as I found out, it wasn't quite what she said. He asked the girls to take off their clothes and give him a massage, and he likes watching them.
Investigators discovered that Jeffrey Epstein and his assistants and Ghislaine Maxwell, they would coordinate massage times with these girls, often multiple massages a day. And then those girls would be asked to recruit friends, especially if they attended local high schools. Think about that for a second. You know, one victim told police that she always gave other girls a heads up about what would be happening inside the mansion because she says the acquaintance who brought her for the first time wasn't completely truthful about Epstein's alleged expectations.
And I would always tell them, what the situation was. Because I wasn't told the whole, at first I was not told the whole situation.
What did he tell you would have to do?
He told me I would just take my shirt off and give him a massage, and that would be
This
it.
is an interview. These are police interviews with the Epstein victims.
Yeah,
with the bra.
topless.
Okay.
So that was it.
Okay. Was there ever a time that you ever told him, hey, I'm not comfortable with that?
The first time he asked me if I would take my jeans off, and I told him I wasn't comfortable with that.
Now let's talk about the grand jury proceedings back in 2006. This again was to decide whether to indict Jeffrey Epstein for sex crimes. And the prosecutor had questioned these victims on the stand, wanting details about what the girls were wearing when they went to the home. So this is part of the transcript, and it reads, quote, question, how were you met when you first went to dressed when you first went to his house? Answer, I was wearing a regular t-shirt, my Hollister shirt, and just some jeans. Okay, what kind of underwear did you have on? A thong. And the bra? What type of bra? It was a bra. Okay, nothing special? Uh-huh. Were you comfortable getting down to your bra and underwear? Uh-huh. I was kind of hesitant. I was sitting in the room until Jeffrey came in, thinking to myself, well, what's going on? I don't know. I was kind of hesitant. But then I just didn't care because I wanted $200 because I wanted to spend it, so I just didn't care. Or how about this particularly creepy exchange with a witness who says she was 17 years old when she had this incident with Jeffrey Epstein? Quote, when you were massaging him, did he say anything to you or make any comments? The response was, polite conversation. Okay, what kind of things was he asking you? Just about school and what I was going to do when I got older.
Huh.
He knew you were in school? Yes. Not to mention the fact that she testified also that when she turned 18, she claims Epstein gave her bras and panties. She also testified how he had intercourse with her before she turned 18. So we're talking about an allegation of assault. Now, as we covered in the previous sidebar, there were some very troubling questions that were posed by the prosecutor and even the jurors to these witnesses about the choices that they made and whether they committed a crime. Again, you can check out our previous sidebar to see all about that. But Jeffrey Epstein, going back to him, he has long been accused of using his appearance of wealth, like this huge fancy mansion, his connection to famous celebrities, photos of whom were sometimes displayed on the walls, and his seemingly never.
If you hear some of those questions, part of the grooming process, right? What are you doing in the future? What do you need to do, right?
Supply of cash to get what he wanted. And detectives warned the alleged victims that Epstein's lawyer might end up contacting them as this criminal investigation moved forward.
Because he is aware of the investigation. I did a search warrant in the house.
Right.
Wow.
Were you aware that he had cameras in the house?
Yes. Wasn't sure where. I knew he had some on the outside of the house. I wasn't sure where the other cameras were.
Okay. But he is aware of the investigation. That's what I'm saying. Don't be surprised if someone from his, like a defense attorney or a private investigator tries to talk to you.
Okay.
Again, there's this theme of power, control, influence in the Jeffrey Epstein saga. We see a lot of that. Now, something else that's been getting a lot of attention within the hundreds of pages of documents are photocopies of Jeffrey Epstein's message books. Now, remember, this is the early 2000s, so yes, people had cell phones, but if someone called the landline at the Epstein mansion in Palm Beach, an employee would likely take down the message. So some of the messages are pretty innocuous. For example, there's a message taken down in April of 2004 from Epstein's brother Mark that simply says, "Call me in New York." Longtime friend and fellow millionaire Les Wexner.
There we go. This is Les Wexner, the financier of Jeffrey Epstein that we are going to be talking about later in the show.
The owner of Victoria's Secret, also often appears in the message book. There is a note that says,
owner of Victoria's Secret, Abercrombie and Fitch, Bed Bath & Beyond, a company called L Brands.
Call me. Wexner has been called out in recent years for
Jeffrey Epstein was given power attorney over all of these corporations.
His connection to Jeffrey Epstein, who he gave control of basically all of his assets at one point. Wexner has said he knew nothing of Epstein's alleged indiscretions and crimes or alleged crimes, and says that he himself was taken advantage of by the financier.
We got to look at all the angles.
Then we have famed attorney Alan Dershowitz, who helped secure Epstein's sweetheart deal that I mentioned before.
He didn't take off his boxers.
Left a message that just says new info. There are other famous names that pop up as well, like magician David Copperfield.
Who wishes he could make this all disappear.
Victims who have filed lawsuits against Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell have named David Copperfield as being present at these get-togethers at Epstein's homes. He's also allegedly asked one of the victims if she knew about getting money for bringing Epstein new girls. He also allegedly performed magic for Epstein's guests because in another message, the note-taker wrote, "Magic David called." And then there are others who have more direct connections to Epstein's supposed worldwide sex trafficking ring. They show up multiple times in Epstein's call logs. For example, we have French model scout Jean-Luc Brunel, who's been accused of acting as a pimp.
Now, remember, he was the one who also was deceased the same way that Epstein was, but in a French prison cell. I've got some video stuff out about him.
Jeffrey Epstein procuring young girls for him to sexually assault. In this phone message, Brunel says, "I need a big favor. I hope you will do it." Brunel, by the way, was kicked out of a modeling agency following a report of decades-long abuse against young women and girls. But Jeffrey Epstein and Brunel started a new agency.
And
when Epstein died in 2019,
hanging.
French authorities opened an inquiry into Brunel, and he tried to flee, but he was arrested at the airport, and he was found dead at a prison in Paris on February 19, 2022, as he was being investigated for rape and trafficking of minors. Now, knowing that, Brunel's other messages seem a lot more sinister. For example, there's this note that reads, "He just did a good one, 18 years. She spoke to me and said, 'I love Jeffrey.'" Investigators also believe that Epstein and Brunel may have spoken sometimes in code. There's this message that reads, quote, "He is a teacher for you to teach you Russian. She is 2 times 8 years old." So, by the way, that's 16. "Not blonde. Lessons are free, and you can have first today. If yes, call." Pretty disturbing if we think this is what it seems to be. Alleged victims or recruiters would also leave messages. This one from someone named Tatum reads, "Has girl for tonight." And this one is specifically addressed to Ghislaine Maxwell, or Sarah, believed to be one of Epstein's assistants, and it's from Emmy. Quote, "She doesn't know at what time she must come this night for the massage." Now, in this release of materials, there are also more investigative reports that detail what happened when girls weren't, let's say, showing Epstein the appreciation that he expected. There's this document that reads, quote, "She stated on the last time she went to provide a massage, she was notified by Sarah to come to the house and work. She stated she was now dating her current boyfriend and did not feel comfortable going. She recalled it was approximately January 2005. She said she went, already thinking that this would be the last time. She went upstairs and went into the master bedroom. She met with Epstein, who was wearing only a towel as he entered the room to lie on the table. She stated Epstein caught her looking at the clock on several occasions. Epstein asked her if she was in a hurry. She stated her boyfriend was in the car waiting for her. She further stated that Epstein got upset and she wasn't enjoying the massage. She told him that she didn't want to continue and would not be back. Epstein told her to leave as she was ruining his massage. I asked her if she had any contact with Epstein's organization. She stated she received $200 from the Western Union as a Christmas gift. She advised she had no formal training in providing any massages. She also stated she was 16 years old when she first went to Epstein's house. So despite what seems like arguably pretty solid evidence of sexual assault of minors and more, the grand jury again indicted Epstein just on solicitation. And as I mentioned, that didn't sit right with some of the detectives on the case, police. In fact, the chief of police of Palm Beach County at the time, Michael Reeder, sent a letter to a victim's father in 2005, and it reads, quote, "Your daughter was the victim of a crime which has been investigated by the Palm Beach Police Department and subsequently referred for prosecution to the Palm Beach State Attorney's Office.
Wow.
You may be aware that Jeffrey Epstein was indicted on charges of solicitation of prostitution by a state of Florida grand jury last week and turned himself in at the Palm Beach County Jail on July 23, 2006. While I do not speak for them, it is my understanding that is the full context in which the Palm Beach County State Attorney's Office intends to address the charges that involve the crime in which your daughter was a victim." The chief says later in the letter, quote, "I do not feel that justice has been sufficiently served by the indictment that has been issued. Therefore, please know that this matter has been referred to the Federal Bureau of Investigation to determine if violations of federal law have occurred." And we talked about what happened next. We're going to continue to follow the fallout from this release. And of course, if any more information should come out, we will do our best to cover it for you.
All right. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much for covering that. We love that channel. We really do. We really do. So we're going to get into some more coverage here. Now we're going to look at a little bit of the White House free fall, ladies and gentlemen.
The political debacle saddling Donald Trump over the course of this weekend and boiling over tonight is widely viewed on the right as his biggest problem with his base in this young presidency. A quote, huge risk to his hold on the party, even the coming midterms. That's from his allies. Headlines screaming about a quote, rebellion or revolt against Trump. A politician who's certainly benefited from loyalty and a type of perception of almost lockstep, unassailable MAGA loyalty is now finding it clearly in danger. The president's broken vow that he would release all this Jeffrey Epstein material and the Trump administration's quite obvious mishandling of aspects of this case, and certainly the messaging, something they're usually kind of good at, has boomeranged. The false statements, busted claims from the president on down to his attorney general. All of this has become the problem on the right. It was the controversy at a MAGA gathering just this weekend that had plenty of bold-faced MAGA names.
Hit the like button for me, guys. Let's get that to 300
How many
likes.
of you are not satisfied with the results of the investigation?
What I'm getting at is at some point, we want answers at some point.
Yeah, answer the questions. That's it. Who went to Epstein Islands? Who specifically went on the plane? Who stayed for more than a night?
I don't think they're telling us the truth about Epstein.
I will not rest until we go full Jan 6 committee on the Jeffrey Epstein files.
I supported Donald Trump in this last election. Yes, he did just actively cover up a giant child rapist ring.
Jeffrey Epstein was working on behalf of intel services, probably not American.
Release all the Epstein files, no matter the consequences.
There is no way that we are going to act like the proven harm and abuse that Jeffrey Epstein has caused never happened.
And we have every right to ask, on whose behalf was he working?
If you want the full release of documents, the special prosecutor gets it, and here's why. Epstein is a key that picks the lock on so many things.
It went on and on and on like that. And if you live in that universe of politics or you follow that kind of media, what you saw there is not new. That's a crescendo over the past week and the past years, because the conspiracies and the content that power so many MAGA voices for their audiences, for their online profits, and for their political heat make this particular topic an obvious public betrayal, one that they cannot abide, not in front of their audiences. People have been promised a payoff for many years on this one. So now President Trump and his top aides are engulfed by the very kind of conspiracy theory that they spent so many years promoting, apparently without a lot of forethought about how it would land if they were in charge again. And we're seeing calls for a so-called accountability for their own leaders who claimed one thing and then did the opposite. If you want to fact check Pam Bondi's claim that she had the Epstein client list on her desk, which is one of those very literal statements, it's not like someday we'll get accountability or we'll learn more. It's I have this well-described client list from this
if you want me to read
now
something out
deceased
for you,
sex
gifted
trafficker
memberships, all the
on my
stuff.
desk,
You know how
she
to
said.
do it. Hit that
And
like
wasn't
button
true.
for me.
And the
Share it
fact
with a
check
friend.
in this case for that
That's how we do.
is
You
in the
know
memo
what
her
YouTube.
office released on behalf of the entire Justice Department.
Pam
so you can see
Bondi.
how, whether or not you see this as partly a runaway conspiracy theory or content farming debacle, it also involves whether government officials are telling the truth. And on this one, there appears to be an overlap between the tests that journalists and independent accountability professionals and inspectors general tend to apply and what the MAGA faithful want. What you heard there, answer the question, are you telling the truth? And should there be accountability for that? Now, the conference you saw those clips from is from a normally pro-Trump group, Turning Points USA. And you saw the big names, Ingram, Kelly, Tucker Carlson, a lot of Fox veterans, Steve Bannon, who still has a very active relationship inside this administration, warning them that they must change course, that this cannot just be quieted down or covered up, to use the sinister version of how so much of this story on Epstein has played out over the years. Now, Trump's DOJ famously basically said, no, nothing more to see here, no more information or evidence to be given, and the questions they had very loudly pushed were now not going to be answered with the memo I mentioned. And a sign that Trump is concerned over the weekend, he posted a fairly long kind of defense, but also pleading with his followers to just move on. The Times summarized it this way: back Bondi in dispute over Epstein inquiry. That's the President of the United States telling people, please just accept my Attorney General. I can't have a change there right now. And the MAGA faithful, for once, said no, partly because of what I just told you about and the clips I showed you from that conference, and partly because this has been years in the making. They didn't say, okay, yes, sir, we love our leader. He got, in online jargon, ratioed, where there are far more negative comments than likes and shares. And that's not the open internet. That's Truth Social. You know who uses that. Michael Flynn, Trump's first national security advisor, posted, please understand the Epstein affair is not going away. Or take the Wall Street Journal, Fox News' sister outlet. Now Trump says, forget Jeffrey Epstein. He urges MAGA to give up the conspiracy tale that they note he promoted, along with allies like Pam Bondi, FBI officials Kash Patel and Jan Bongino, who are now basically all clashing with each other over the handling of this Epstein memo. Now, take this together and you might say, is this still the top story in America? Isn't there a lot of other really important stuff going on? And the answer is yes. Indeed, many nights we're talking about ICE raids and foreign policy and the trade war. And yet the political reaction, which could imperil the leadership of the FBI or the DOJ, which is always a big story, matters to a lot of people, regardless of the reason, political reaction is part of it. The other part is the MAGA faithful are going through a kind of truth-based process that they sometimes have not done for other real-world broken Trump promises. So what you saw there, that template, hey, you lied. Was this all just a way to trick us or get our votes or get our money in the case of these media merchants? And how do we feel about that? And should someone pay for the lie? Something you often hear Trump critics say. We're now hearing that from the MAGA faithful, but just on the Epstein issue, which has been so thoroughly programmed. So I will mention to the MAGA faithful watching and people kind of making sense of all this, there are other very real world policies where Trump also made vows. He said he would release the Epstein files, and his
there are possibilities
AG said she would,
that
and they
don't
didn't.
want to involve some
He
people
also said
who
he'd
are
build the wall.
currently involved in
He'd get 90
operations.
trade deals in 90 days. That deadline we reached last week.
It could take some time to filter out these files.
He did say he'd end inflation and
because
the
I don't
Ukraine
believe
war,
there's a
Middle East
list.
peace,
I
lower
think it's
grocery
files.
prices. These are things that affect real
Semantics.
people that have not been done. And yet politics is usually fluid, not static. Comes at you fast. And if they don't contain this, it is possible that having popped a bubble, 1 out of 20 or 1 out of 10 or even 1 out of 5, according to some of these MAGA leaders who are concerned, 1 out of 5 people who voted for Trump might start saying, wait a minute, if he lied about this, and to them it's a big government conspiracy and it does involve an underlying case of a horrific sex trafficker, if he lied about this, what else is he lying about? And what in this democracy do we do about it? You take those questions to New York Times Magazine writer Emily Bazelon, a legal reporter, and there's a lot of law in the handling and mishandling of this. And on the media side, Michael Greenbaum, a media correspondent for the New York Times. Full disclosure, he writes about media, including television networks. His new book is about print, though. It's Empire of the Elite Inside Condé Nast, the media dynasty that reshaped America. And as we say in the biz, it drops tomorrow. Congrats on the book.
Thanks so much.
Emily, I'm going to start with you as someone who's followed this closely and been a hometown expert and analyst for us. There are serious legal questions here. And yet some of the freak out is about things that are unknown or unproven, but that Trump and Bondi said they would reveal.
Right. There's supposed to be this client list, as you said. Bondi claimed that to have it on her desk. And this was really built up during the campaign, this idea that the Biden administration was hiding something. And, you know, you can understand why people think there could be a conspiracy here. Even if you're not conspiracy minded, you have this super wealthy guy. He is accused of sexually abusing many, many girls and women. He knows a lot of famous people. There have been allegations of other celebrities who've been involved with him, and including Donald Trump, a former friend of Epstein's. So this became a kind of article of faith with a lot of Trump supporters that the Biden administration was hiding something. And as soon as their people got into the Justice Department, they would learn the truth. It would all be revealed. And now the rug has been pulled out from under them. And they're super unhappy about that.
Yeah, they're upset. And a lot of people might normally on the MAGA right media space deal with Trump and give him a pass on a lot of things. But
Hit
this
that
almost
like
seems,
button.
Michael,
I'm
like
gonna
they
give you guys a boop, boop, boop. All right, go ahead. Just boop me on the nose if you're going to hit that like. Double tap that glass. Give me that boop.
can't. Megyn
hit that
Kelly, of
like
course,
button.
has that Fox history, but she does her own digital work. And this was how she sounded this weekend.
You get one. You get. Everybody gets a boop.
Who have you seen? Pam Bondi. She has never missed an opportunity to go on television and dangle sweet nothings that might be coming your way. Try to lead you to believe that she's got it. It's on her desk. It's coming tomorrow. You're going to see something on Epstein. And it was a tease. So you either believe that Pam Bondi was telling the truth then or that she's telling the truth now. But both cannot be true. She was either lying when she went on Fox News all those times saying, I've got it, we're looking at it, wait until you see it, it's horrible. Or she's lying in her 2-page memo that they released on a Sunday night.
Well, I think we should think about just how rare it is for this level of dissent to infiltrate the information silos that MAGA faithful follow. I mean, you're seeing, in fact, that turning point, the fact that the Manosphere podcasts that are so central to a lot of listeners in the MAGA universe are hearing people like Megyn Kelly being so harsh on this administration. I mean, it's the first time it's happened, certainly since Trump was inaugurated for the second time. And, you know, to Emily's point, you know, Steve Bannon said Epstein is the key to everything. I mean, think about the aspects of this story. The fundamental core of Trump's appeal is that he's going to take on the establishment for you. He's going in there. He's digging up the deep states. You're finally back in power. And what is Epstein if not a story about an establishment protecting one of their own, the power elite engaging in these perverted, disgusting acts? And here's Trump saying, not just, you know, there's no file list, but hey, let's move on. He said at the cabinet meeting last week, are people still talking about this? And he's discovering that that's not a good way to get your supporters to move off a topic by saying there's nothing to see here.
So we are going to hit this other side of this story, which we have right here. I'm going to show you some a little bit of footage here, a little MSNBC that is showing some of what's happening with old Cash and Dan.
Deputy at Norfolk's field office, Michael Feinberg, was threatened with investigation and demotion because of his friendship with former FBI counterintelligence agent Pete Strzok. Feinberg resigned with the understanding that the retaliation he faced meant his career as he knew it, as he'd worked to create it at the FBI, was over. Now Feinberg is speaking out publicly about the extraordinary nature of his ouster and is warning that the purge of career employees
and I
at
have
the
some
FBI
very rare Jeffrey Epstein footage coming up in just a second.
is even worse than what has been publicly reported. He writes in a chilling new piece detailing the circumstances of his resignation, how he knew once Dan Bongino learned of his friendship with Pete Strzok, everything changed. Quote, prior to that day, I had never faced any sort of disciplinary review or investigation. And to be clear, I was not accused of violating any rules or regulations this time either. Nor had any of my cases fallen short of institutional standards. My only supposed sin was a long-standing friendship with an individual who appeared on Kash Patel's enemies list and against whom Dan Bongino had railed publicly. Yet rules turned out not to matter much, and so that weekend, Bongino informed my special agent in charge, who in turn informed me that he was halting and actually reversing my professional advancement. Feinberg adds on the nature of his friendship with Pete Strzok this, quote, if the fact that I sang along to Every Day is Like Sunday while he stood next to me at a Morrissey concert actually represents an imminent danger to the Bureau's integrity, then for the first time in nearly half century on this earth, I'm truly at a loss for words. And if there are any questions as to whether or not the people who are being ousted at the FBI are the selfless public servants who should fill the nation's top law enforcement agency,
we'll be covering
here's
that.
this from Feinberg's resignation letter. Quote, I love my country and our Constitution with a fervor that mere language will not allow me to articulate. And it pains me that my profession will no longer entail being a servant.
An alleged FBI
As you know, my wife and I are
here.
expecting our first child this summer, and this decision will entail no small degree of hardship for us. But as our organization began to decay, I made a vow that I would comport myself in a manner that would allow me to look my son in the eye as I raised him. It is now apparent that I can no longer both fulfill that vow and continue working for our current leadership. That is where we start the hour. The former assistant special agent in charge at the FBI, Michael Feinberg, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me on the show.
Your piece stopped me in my tracks. I read the whole thing, which took a bit, but it was the first window into what's really happening at the FBI. And I wonder if you can just share with our viewers what happened to you at Kash Patel's FBI.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words about the piece. It was actually rather difficult to write because the entire situation, as hopefully the tenor of the excerpt you just read signifies, was pretty heartbreaking. I've been an apolitical civil servant my entire career. I've had some notable public successes countering the intelligence services of the Chinese government. I've had even more private successes, which remain classified. And there's never been a complaint or criticism about the quality of my work or my professional comportment. So it was a little surprising to me that Saturday in May when I found out that Bongino, the deputy director of the can end at any moment for a spurious political reason. And what we're seeing is that those sort of ideological purges that are going on, whether within a certain political ecosystem or on their own specials and their own podcasts, the sort of credulity to believe conspiracy theories.
I was reading on X that, like, Comey's daughter is like the lead prosecutor in the Southern District of New York. Did you read that?
Yes.
And like, so obviously there's a bit of an entanglement there.
A little bit.
Like, what if there's something that, you know, puts her dad in a bad light?
Exactly. Hit the fucking shredder. Hit that delete button.
The shredder's
Keep hitting
taking
that delete
overtime, you
button.
know?
Did you see General Flynn? He was on a podcast, and he spoke directly to James Comey.
Yeah.
He said, Jim, you're going to jail, and unless you give up someone deeper than you, and you know who that is. You know who I'm talking about? Like, that is wild.
Yeah.
To think that the former director of the FBI might be really in that kind of deep shit, and then he really actually was doing some evil, corrupt shit while he was running the FBI.
I mean, it seems like there's some very shady stuff that's been going on.
It seems like it definitely happened in the 60s, right? Everybody kind of admits to that. They admit the FBI killed Black Panthers. They did a lot of shit. There's a lot of stuff that went on that we know the government did way back in the day.
Yeah, why don't we just data dump the files? Just like go in there, take photos of all the papers, presumably paper, and just post it online, and let the chips fall where they may.
Isn't presumably everyone
I mean, is it in like
dead?
some like filing cabinet somewhere? I don't know.
Right. Where is it?
Where's the magic filing cabinet?
How are they hiding it? Who's got access to it? Like this is what I was hoping. Day one, I was hoping, but obviously it's taking a lot longer than that. So
I think part of it is like you know, like let's say you were made director of the FBI.
Okay. I might be able to.
Yeah,
that's what's crazy.
Like literally, you know,
Dan
there.
Bongino, what's he doing now? He's one of the big dogs of the FBI. But he was
Dan's a
he's a
tough
Secret
guy.
Service guy. Yeah, legit guy. But people think of him as a Fox News guy, just like Pete Hegseth. Same thing. They don't want to think about his distinguished military career.
Right.
They want to say, oh, that Fox News guy? Deputy Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah. I mean, Dan's hardcore. I
Very.
mean, if it's reasonably findable, I think he's going to find it.
Yeah, this is the
between
thing,
him and Cash. I mean, like I think they're going to get stuff.
How
out there.
crazy would it be if they couldn't, though? How crazy would it be if they can't find anything?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We're going to be running that footage in just a little bit, and we're going to clip over to the We Are Change piece right here about Epstein Island. So we're going to take a little deeper look here. And We Are Change, they always do such a great job. Thank you. No sound, that's right. They call me Zero Sound Tony.
Well, hello from Jeffrey Epstein's island. I'm walking around the whole island. There's
Wow.
like no one here. Very interesting place. The swimming pool looks like it's in good shape. So oddly quiet.
Yeah, I just
here.
had the mute on. I feel a little sneezy today. Uh-oh. Here comes the security. So We Are Change is a great channel. It happens. It happens. The mute button happens around here sometimes.
Hurry up, you guys.
I'm going to
Get
link
your
this
asses on there.
in
Epstein
the
Island.
chat
Jeff
so you
and
can see the video if you like.
Holy shit.
This is crazy. No, it was all me. It was my fault. Happens sometimes. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you.
I can't believe we're here.
This is Gradowski of WeAreChange.org here with Jeff Berwick, the dollar vigilante, off yet another crazy, insane
A visit
adventure.
to
This
Epstein
time
Island.
to
I mean,
Jeffrey-
just getting here must be really hard. And we're going to go over every single creator who has gone to Epstein Island. Not today. We're going to give them all a feature one at a time. But this is one of the people that took the time to actually go to the
Epstein's
island.
private island, Little St. James. And there's a lot of things we're going to have to get into in this video, but I don't even know where to begin. I mean, just even being here, it was difficult finding a boat operator. Jeff, just start it off from here.
Well, we were in the area, and we thought,
Yes,
no
this
one's
is We Are
ever gone on
Change.
this island. No real media, anyone really that I know of has ever gone on. We only get the information from the government and the mainstream media, and those are the two things you can never trust with information. So we're like, well, I guess we have to go and check this out and see if it's even real.
We have
For all
beards.
we know, there might not be anything there. Like it's always lies what they tell us, and for all we know, there could still be some activity going on there. Maybe Bill Clinton's there, maybe Jeffrey Epstein's there. No one's looking into this, so we took it upon ourselves to, well, let's do it. But it wasn't easy. Most captains said they wouldn't take us to the island. There's all kinds of, you're in different countries on different islands, so we had to work our way around that, make sure we weren't doing too many illegal things all at once. And yeah, just rolling up to the island and actually seeing that temple, which is there, so we have verified that. This is a lot of verification of what is actually there, was pretty surreal.
Yeah, and it was also kind of a little daunting, a little scary kind of going in there because, you know, in some jurisdictions you could just get shot and killed for going on private property. And this is, someone that was extremely powerfully connected to presidents, prime ministers, royalty, and was able to evade law enforcement for some of the worst, most despicable acts in this world. This is a man that literally, when he was finally put to court, was given a slap on the wrist by someone who was previously working inside of Trump's administration that somehow was connected. Again, the interconnectedness of Jeffrey Epstein is just absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, we're talking about billionaires.
I wonder what would
leaders,
happen.
bankers,
the
most
we're going to look at a
people
couple
who
of
were
them.
on that island.
Tyler
And there was really no one else to verify.
Oliveira
All
went.
of I've really seen from independent media is a guy who is anonymous or a girl who is anonymous that is flying drones over the island and just documenting what is there. So being in the area, I'm like, we have to see what's going on here because there was other drone footage showing that there was stuff moved before the U.S. federal government came in. And then, as we know, the U.S. federal government, the federal authorities can't be trusted here. For over a decade, they let Jeffrey Epstein go on and be totally free. He not only had a private wing of his own jail cell, he was able to leave during the day. He was supposed to check in with parole officers that he never did check in. But even the journey here of trying to find a boat, we were able to find out some other information about how this wasn't even that big of secret on this island at all.
Yeah, talking to the locals,
a lot of the
people who lived here for 20 years, they're like, oh, everyone. You just see the 12, 13-year-old girls waiting on the dock. They come get picked up, go to Epstein Island. So it's incredibly out in the open. And, people like Bill Clinton came here, 50 times? A huge amount of times. It's just like when we go to Bilderberg, right? The mainstream media doesn't cover any of that stuff. They don't cover, because we knew about this. I know we were talking about this for years about Epstein Island. We were talking about it before everyone heard about it in the mainstream news. And we're talking about how Bill Clinton's going there and Prince Andrew's going there. And no one, it was just like so out in the open. They were so brazen that they're like, well, no one can arrest us. We're involved with all of the people who would arrest us. So rolling up to the island was pretty surreal, and we did not know what to expect. We had because no one had ever done this before. So we didn't know if there was going to be 100 DE agents, FBI agents, all armed. We didn't know if there was anyone on the island. So we had all these plans. I don't know if you want to mention some of the plans. It was a stupid plan.
The whole thing is pretty ridiculous what we were doing, but you had this idea because we were staying at some kind of resort. We're at Joby Weeks, and he's like an OCD kind of traveler. But we got these kind of wristbands here. It says Langley Resort. So one of our plans, out of many plans, was literally just showing up there. And
remember, the roof was blown off in a storm, we were told before. The dome gold roof.
So be like, oh yeah, we're here with Langley. You didn't get the memo, and then being like, hey, you got to talk to my supervisor, Jeff. Jeff, you would have. There was 4 other people. We had so many different plans. All of them fell through last minute. All of them didn't work out. I remember being so frustrated in the morning because I know how important this was. We were kind of bickering with each other, like, come on, we got to do this. And then what ended up happening is this random last minute. The captain who said he wasn't going to, he said he was like, yeah, I'm not getting my boat seized. I'm not getting in trouble. But last minute, we were just going around the island. I was like, let's go around the island. He pulled up to the dock. He was like, you got 5 seconds. You're going to do this? Do it now.
Get it
and
done.
I was like, literally, quickly grabbed my shoes,
I didn't grab my shoes, by the way. Yeah. I just have to say, Epstein Island is full of jagged little rocks, and I didn't bring my shoes. So I'm in bare feet trying to run, especially near the end. We'll get to that part. But we went through the whole island with jagged rocks. Yeah. So it was like we didn't know if we were going to do it. We didn't know. And it was just like, and all of a sudden the captain, he was really great. At last minute, he goes, if you're going to do it, you got 5 seconds. And you just jumped, and you're like, Jeff, come. And I'm like, all right, let's go.
I remember in the back, I'm like, he's giving me 5 seconds. I quickly put on my shoes. I'm like, do I have my cameras? Okay, luckily I had my cameras in my pockets. And I'm like, Jeff, come, let's go. And you're like,
and for those who haven't seen it, we do have, and I'm going to be running this here just to show you, we have some footage from a Jeffrey Epstein deposition, some actual Jeffrey Epstein footage. And we're going to show this again now for you because I know a few people haven't seen it. Let's show you live.
You ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes.
What was the crime of which you were convicted?
Two counts. One, soliciting prostitution and procuring a minor for prostitution.
Did you in fact commit those acts?
I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution?
Same answer.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution in the state of Florida?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution in the Virgin Islands?
Same answer.
That is, you are invoking your Fifth Amendment.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, Mr. Scroll.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New York?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New Mexico?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in Paris?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution anywhere at any time?
Again, I'm going to assert my right.
Let's take another break. We're going to go off the record. So you are terminating the deposition at this time? The recess of the deposition.
What college did you attend?
Cooper Union.
And did you get a degree from Cooper Union?
No, sir.
How many years were you in college?
I believe 2.
What'd you study?
Physics.
Well, isn't it true that you were a teacher at the Dalton School in New York after college? It's just unheard of. It's just an unbelievable scheme to have kept going for that long of a period of time. Do you consider yourself to be bisexual?
No.
Okay. In any event, you did develop a sexual relationship with Leslie Wexner at some point in time. Is that true?
No.
Mr. Epstein, how long have you been sexually attracted to underage minor females?
Objection, harassing, argumentative. Are you kidding?
I mean, I don't feel like I'm divulging any secrets here, right?
Move to strike.
Oh, you mean this one? This picture right here? Yeah, we got that one. There's the George Bush picture right there.
Mr. Epstein, were you sexually abused as a minor?
Again?
Were you sexually abused as a minor?
You know, I'd like to respond to all your, if any, questions seem to be relevant, but I would like to respond to any relevant question at this time. However, my attorneys have counseled me that I cannot provide answers to the questions relevant to this lawsuit today. I must accept their advice or risk losing my Sixth Amendment right to effective representation. Accordingly, then, I assert my Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment right to the United States Constitution.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Is it true, sir, that you have what's been described as an egg-shaped penis?
Yeah.
I had hired psychologists to do a psychological profile on Jeffrey Epstein, what type of person he was, and what would actually get under his skin. What made him tick was that he was a narcissist. He had no ability to feel empathy and saw himself as the master of puppets, so to speak. Sir, one witness.
I mean, to me, there is just no doubt about this. That is the face of evil right there. Wow, that is scary.
It's unsettling to him.
Complaint filed by Virginia Roberts against you. Isn't it true, sir, that a friend of yours sent you 3 12-year-old females for you to sexually abuse on one of your birthdays?
Form argumentative, harassing, and irrelevant to this lawsuit.
But you're saying it's part of the lawsuit?
Yeah, I'll read it directly.
It was Jeffrey's birthday one.
On one of defendant Epstein's birthdays, a friend of defendant Epstein sent him 3 12-year-old girls from France who spoke no English for defendant to sexually exploit and abuse. After doing so, they were sent back to France the next day. Isn't that true?
Once again, I'm going to move to strike. Irrelevant, argumentative, harassing.
And now here's some other footage that we have from Mar-a-Lago, 1992. KF499 Super Chat. If you had a magic wand, would you rather stop Epstein stuff or weather modification? Go ahead and put your answer in the chat, everybody. I think I want to stop the Epstein stuff because I'll bet if we stop the Epstein stuff, we could probably, thump up the individual who's messing with the weather. We'll find him through Epstein, right? With the twofer. Thank you so much, KF, for the $5 Super Chat.
I would like to answer that question. I really would.
Button, guys.
However, today, my attorneys have told me I have to assert my 5th Amendment, 6th Amendment, and 14th Amendment rights of the U.S. Constitution.
You're invoking your 5th Amendment rights to each of these questions because you know that your answers will incriminate you and you feel that it will result in you being prosecuted for these crimes. Isn't that right?
Objection argumentative, harassing, and calls for a legal conclusion.
No, in fact, the Supreme Court recently said that the 5th Amendment right is there to protect the innocent. So that's the way I'd like to answer that.
Are you released from jail at some time? Do you have to report back to jail on a daily basis?
Yes, I report back to jail at 8 p.m.
Every single day?
Yes, sir.
And is it 7 days a week that you're out on work release?
No, sir.
How many days a week are you out on work release?
6.
And of those 6 days, how many hours per day are you out on work release?
12.
We're back on the video record at 12:02 p.m.
Let's talk about Jane Doe 102, Virginia Roberts. Do you know Virginia Roberts?
So she's, again, who?
Virginia Roberts.
Can you spell it?
Common spelling, Virginia, like the state.
Can you spell it for me, please?
Roberts.
How's it, what's the last name? How's it spelled?
Roberts, I believe.
Now, what I have right here is some more very rare footage of Jeffrey Epstein. This is likely something that you have not seen before. This is Jeffrey Epstein sitting in. Now, this is some stuff you have not seen, guys. See that gentleman to the right with the glasses right there? That is Jeffrey Epstein. He is sitting in what is called an EDGE seminar. Okay? EDGE seminar. Now, the EDGE seminars are leadership seminars. All right? So these are leadership seminars that involve politics, policy. And here he is. Let's have a look.
The function of noise to the function of the winning strategies, in that if you're trapped in a local energy...
And that is Jeffrey Epstein to the right.
You need some noise, a little bit of thermal energy to pop you into a potentially better one. And so there's a funny way in which it gives noise a moral quality.
Voice in which strategies reproduce from one generation to the next. And this allows you to explore fitness landscapes and allows you to avoid being stuck at a certain place. Another thing that avoids being stuck is sexual reproduction. So sexual reproduction is
I always have a little trouble seeing how the direct reciprocity gets started. And I was wondering if you...
So there's Jeffrey Epstein right there to the right of the guy with the dreadlocks. He's sort of in the center of the frame right there. If you could see the cursor hovering.
Would take off, because if I'm helping people who have helped them.
So there you can see him right there, Jeffrey Epstein in the EDGE conference. These are all leadership conferences. It's said that they're related to the Trilateral Commission and the Rockefellers, these conferences and these seminars. And there is direct evidence of Jeffrey Epstein having connections with the Trilateral Commission.
Which is understudied. So I wanted to suggest that if you have any undergraduate students who are looking for topics. I think in America in general, that when there are multiple overlapping hierarchies of what you perceive with status, there's more chances of people finding the wiggle room to feel okay about not finding whoever's their superior in the status chain.
And we'll get back to this in a minute. We have some more here about Elon and this whole issue of just release the files already. So here we go.
Has added his voice to the chorus. Elon Musk has added his voice to the chorus of conservatives calling on President Donald Trump to release the Epstein files as promised, hours after the president pleaded with MAGA to end its civil war. In response to Trump's Truth Social post on Saturday, calling for his supporters to stop targeting Attorney General Pam Bondi, Musk posted, saying he said Epstein half a dozen times while telling everyone to stop talking about Epstein. The 54-year-old billionaire added, just release the files as promised. The Trump administration has been facing backlash, even from supporters, after a memo released by the Justice Department and the Federal Bureau of Investigation this week said Epstein never had a client list, nor was there any evidence that he may have blackmailed prominent people. The report also concluded that Epstein died by suicide in his jail cell. Trump defended his Attorney General Pam Bondi in a post on Truth Social, while also accusing members of the Biden administration and others of creating the files. But what's the Epstein files? Jeffrey Epstein was convicted in 2008 in Florida for soliciting sex from underage girls. He was arrested again in July 2019 on federal charges of sex trafficking minors. A month later, Epstein was found dead in his jail cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York, sparking widespread speculation and conspiracy theories. During his election campaign last year, Trump had stated he would have no problem releasing the Epstein-related documents. FBI and Justice Department recently concluded that there was no evidence to support long-standing theories surrounding Epstein's death or the existence of a blackmail-based client list. The feud between Musk and Trump over the Epstein case had intensified in June when Musk, without offering evidence, claimed Trump's name appeared in government documents related to Epstein. The post was later deleted.
Hit the like button, guys.
The tech billionaire recently launched his political outfit called the America Party and has since called for full disclosure in the Epstein case. Last week, he confirmed that exposing Epstein's alleged client list is a top priority for his new party.
I think so too. I mean, I think these are top priorities for this administration. All right. So we are going to get to a little RFK here. Now, RFK talks to News Nation and talks about Jeffrey Epstein.
In the news today, many names of associates of Jeffrey Epstein being made public, about to be made public. Back in November, you told Newsweek you'd been on Epstein's plane once. In the early 90s, you told Fox News in December you're on his plane twice. Is there anything more that voters need to know about your connection with Jeffrey Epstein before any more information comes out?
No, I mean, I think I like what's happening today. I like the fact that all these papers are being released. I've been an advocate for transparency. I think the government keeps too many secrets. I think it's important for the American public to know whether Jeffrey Epstein had some kind of corrupt influence on public officials or any public figure. And those are the kind of, it's suspicious that the government has been unwilling to release those documents, and I think that every document associated with Jeffrey Epstein should be released.
So to be clear, you're not concerned about anything that could come out about you and Jeffrey Epstein?
My plane rides with Jeffrey Epstein, I took 2 plane rides with him. Once in 1993, when I went down to visit my mother in Palm Beach. Remember, nobody knew about anything about Jeffrey Epstein's nefarious activities till 2006. So he was a public figure and a big philanthropist in New York, and many, many people knew him. My wife knew his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, and they offered us a ride when we were going down to see my mother. I was with 2 children and my wife on the plane at that time. I knew nothing about Jeffrey Epstein, and then I think 1 or 2 years later, we took my kids fossil hunting on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota, and those are, that was the extent of anything that I had to do with Jeffrey Epstein's airplane. Of course, I ran across Jeffrey Epstein at parties, at fundraisers, for the Robin Hood fundraiser in New York.
People need to come out just like RFK did. He came out, he said what was up, he's responded to it. He said, look, I went on a plane with my kids. Okay. If more people did what he did, right now, this is just a way to be straight up with people. Here it is. I rode 2 times on a plane with him. Okay.
Other than that, I had no relationship with him.
So nothing that could come out that you're concerned about in terms of the campaign or anything like that?
Nothing at all. I hope everything that is known about Jeffrey Epstein comes out. I think it's odd that the Congress has not been able to subpoena him. I've been an advocate for making sure that the government is transparent about everything, including every document, everything that is known about Jeffrey Epstein.
All these things have to come out, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. And it needs to be done very quickly. So let's have a look here at another point of view on Bondi. Pam Bondi.
Factor of 10,000. And anyone who disagrees with me is welcome to come on this show and choose their fighter. Which Trump AG would you replace Pam Bondi with? Barr? Sessions? Rosen? She's the best, and we appreciate her service. Tonight, I bring you my analysis of where this administration stands and why President Trump is posting on social media to keep his outstanding team members mission-focused and working together. But we must appreciate the context of direct comparison to the first Trump term. Compared to President Trump's first term in office,
we bring all sides of all articles that are done on this story. We bring all angles so that people can have their own opinions. I have no political leanings when it comes to protecting vulnerable individuals like those who are underage. There are no limits, okay? So everybody gets to be heard on this one, because I think one thing that everybody can come together on, no matter what your political thing is, okay? Because I really don't care much about politics. But whatever your political thing is, the point here is to find the truth, to find who's responsible for any harm done to any vulnerable individuals. And I don't care where the article comes from. We're going to run it so that everybody can have a voice here. Okay?
Loyal and patriotic people who care deeply about the president and want him to succeed in saving the country. I know all the players, and their motives cannot be questioned. Of course, on any team dynamic, passionate people.
I don't like Matt Gaetz either, but it's an article, okay? I don't like Matt Gaetz. That's, I don't like him. But here we are. Because I want to hear his point, because he was actually an insider. And he might have something that could glean some kind of information.
We'll have their disagreements. But I suspect the administration is working a lot like the Trump campaign did. I was involved in that at a very high level, and it included a lot of the same folks who are in the news today.
Don't worry, we're going to Jim Acosta next. We go back and forth, baby.
Debate things. They hash them out. Then everyone brings their best arguments
I don't even know
to
what a
President Trump,
centrist is.
and he makes the final decisions. As the president pointed out in his post, those decisions are resetting the global economy on trade, securing our border, and bringing back safety to our homeland. These great successes, shared by the entire team, should be creating unity, not division or threats of quitting. It's great to want more, to always be seeking a better entree. I tried to always seek more
Now let's get to
myself
Pam
back in
Bondi
any
here.
administration, but look at what she has accomplished. The Bondi team successfully litigated away
And I
the
wanted to hear
judicial
what he was
coup
saying
of
about
nationwide injunctions.
Bill
We got
Barr.
Bill Barr. AG Barr is the reason legitimate questions about the 2020 election went uninvestigated by the Department of Justice. I personally know of cases Bill Barr shut down that related to voter fraud that could have told us a lot more about the networks and the people who are trying to destabilize our elections and our voting process. You don't think you're getting all the answers you want on Epstein? We never got the answers on an election that resulted in a dementia ward escapee being president for 4 years. After Bill Barr was Jeff Rosen.
But I love the opinions, man. Keep them coming. I love the discussion. This is what people got to do. We got to open up. We got to get it on the table. Put it in the chat. Don't be scared to say something. Come on now.
He was the acting attorney general. He
Who's your
allowed
voice?
MAGA grandmothers to be hunted like Pam Bondi is hunting MS-13. Pam Bondi is the best attorney general Donald Trump has had by a factor of 10,000. And anyone who disagrees with me is welcome to come on this show and choose their fighter. Which Trump AG would you replace Pam Bondi with? Barr,
That's a tough one.
Sessions, Rosen? She's the best, and we appreciate her service.
Well,
And at the FBI, some have suggested that they aren't keen on cash anymore.
compared to Barr, I mean, Barr is the one who first hired Epstein. Let's not forget Barr's father. Barr's father, Donald, is the first one to hire Epstein.
Look at where we've been at the FBI. It used to be a dumpster fire. During the prior Trump administration, we had James Comey. We had to deal with Christopher Wray, and now we get Kash Patel. Kash is rounding up actual criminals, not spying on political opponents.
So see, a lot of people that is a polarizing opinion. That is a polarizing opinion. What is wrong with polarizing opinions anymore? Why are people so afraid of polarizing opinions? That's what makes the world go round. That's what fuels discussions. Look, there are married couples that don't agree on television shows, and they've been married for 50 years.
There's a list that's out. Who knows if it's fake? I don't know. It could be a fake list.
Now, this
Who knows?
is,
but
Eddie
Chris
Bravo.
Tucker's on that list.
Eddie Bravo, who I find to be a pretty amusing guy, he is on the Joe Rogan show talking about the Epstein list.
And they asked Chris Tucker on a podcast, what's up with you being on the list? He didn't do what Jimmy Kimmel said. Jimmy Kimmel said it's a fake list. Who cares what that list says? It's fake.
Right.
Chris Tucker goes, yeah, I did go on
And then
that.
we have Jim Acosta come. I mean, talk about the polarity that I'm showing you here. Okay, you get Matt Gaetz, Joe Rogan, and then Jim Acosta. I'm going to show you, and all the NBC stuff. Oh, come on. You get the full spectrum here, and I'm not even on the spectrum.
Flight, but we went to Africa, and I went with a bunch of diplomats. I didn't know who this fucking Epstein guy was. Like Chris Tucker says, I had no idea. We were on this plane. We were going to Africa, do some diplomatic shit, and turns out he's a pedophile. I didn't know.
Well, they definitely got people connected to him by using famous people.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
my point was, Chris Tucker basically confirmed that the list was legit because he's on it.
Right. There's this dude that was inviting me to this conference once, and he was like, Kanye West is going to be there. I'm like, oh, Kanye West is going to be there. Next thing you know, you're there, right?
Yes.
And if you don't know who's there, and some dude, this was just a conference, it was like a tech conference. And they wanted me to come and talk about the influence of social media and podcasting and shit. I was like, I talk about that all the time. What am I going to go there? But point is, they were trying to lure me by saying that some famous dude I know is going to be there. So if you hear, like, oh my God, you know, Richard Dawkins is going to be there.
You think it's safe?
Yeah, all these famous people are going to be there. World leaders are going to be there.
What was Stephen Hawkins doing on that list so much?
Stephen Hawkins was a freak. He used to go to strip clubs.
Really?
Yeah, because he could feel, but he couldn't move. You know who told me about that? Eric Weinstein. Weinstein told me about that back in the day. He would go to like swingers clubs. He would lay there, and they all gyrate on him. And just can't move. Because
wow, talking about Stephen Hawking, who has been around Jeffrey Epstein.
Felt good, and he can't move, but he could feel. He had Lou Gehrig's disease, so his body just.
Their dicks still get hard though.
I bet. I mean, he's not stupid. He's smart as shit. He just can't move.
It's crazy because like to go to the effort to blackmail Stephen Hawking.
Well,
like, you know, easy that would be if like you really want to blackmail
I don't know if that's
a dude.
what they were doing.
He had a bunch of handlers though.
But you know what I'm saying? How easy the guy's in a wheelchair, he can't even move.
But you got to think
put him
of
in
it
any
as,
situation,
right?
And what is he going to do? Say stop. Like we're going to wheel you in. You're on this island now. Like.
Now you have to think of it in terms of a long picture. Like, what is the picture? If you have esteemed scientists, Nobel laureates, scholars, all these different world leaders, bankers, famous singers, famous actors, they're all there. So that's the way you get people to do it. You invite people to this immense, lavish celebration that with intellectual world leaders, geniuses. And you think, well, how could it be bad if all these geniuses are there?
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you're doing yayo, and you got some girl from some Eastern Bloc country that's rubbing your and you don't know that she's 16, and she takes you in a room, and that room is filled with cameras. That's
blackmail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
That's
think
what it's all about.
We're probably facing the effects of that right now. I bet there's decisions that were made. There's influence that got moved around. There's people that supported a certain narrative because they were on that list.
Wasn't that what I was saying all day today?
Has to be.
I think everything that's going on right now in the world is linked to Jeffrey Epstein. That's what I think. I think
everything?
I think everything, man.
Maui?
Trump shit, everything?
Everything.
Everything?
Who's
UFOs?
connected? I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you know,
yeah, all of it. All of it.
Since I met you, we've discussed UFOs. UFOs have been around. They've been talking about them since Jesus left Chicago.
Right.
But the last 3 fucking years, everybody's seen fucking UFOs.
Yeah.
How about that Miami shit? Come on. Come on, dog.
The people who did coke for 40 years.
Yeah.
That's what you saw. You didn't see no fucking aliens. But that's what they're selling all. Now people from the Navy.
It's a distraction.
All of a sudden, all these pilots. Yeah. I was going here and they were driving right next to me, waving at
so
me.
fake.
Really? And now you decide to fucking tell me.
This is what I think.
Tell me.
There's a lot of important people that were on that list, right?
Right.
A lot.
There are a lot of important people that are at the very highest levels of finance that are involved with the CIA. Okay, this is documented. There are the people at the highest levels of finance give information all the time to CIA, FBI, all the intelligence mechanisms in the U.S.
All over.
Now, what people don't want to do, I would imagine, with the information that they have from Epstein, they want to release. They don't want to release some of those operatives. Now, here's the problem: the CIA gives an operative whatever they want. So this could be another situation where we find the CIA is involved just as much with the Epstein situation as with the JFK situation. That would be a possibility. Right? Right.
The world.
Right.
Politics,
music,
Hollywood, music,
actors,
industry, foreign policy, entertainment, agriculture, import, export.
This is out, dog. No ass right there. Chris Tucker pretty much said it was real.
Yep.
Not that everybody on the list did shit. Who knows? It would be easy to, like you said, drag. Like if in the 90s or in the 2000s, if people would have liked my music and I would have had a record deal, thank God nobody liked it.
And somebody said, hey, you want to come to the island?
Let's go to an island, dog. There's a billionaire. He's got a bunch of bitches that we're going to party. I think I would have went, dog. You know what I mean? Then you go, You go,
And you're
right?
talking to a
you
scientist.
go, and then you're like, dude, people brought their kids. You're like, no, dude, those are the bitches. Like, oh shit,
No,
I'd be on a
wait a
fucking
minute, wait a minute,
kayak,
wait a
dog. I'd be on a fucking kayak. Where's Miami, dog? Listen, how far is Florida?
What do you think?
These are the bitches?
What do you
No,
think? What do you think this UFO thing is? What do you think the UFO?
I
thing
think
is?
okay, no. The
I'm
point
asking
is,
Joey.
no. This is the point.
Okay.
This is the
Okay.
My point is, the people that are on the list would rather, like, if they had a choice, you want to go to jail for this shit as a pedophile, or would you rather have World War III? Would you rather have fucking civil war? Would you rather have a fake alien invasion where the world changes, like the whole world changes right away? Where would you go? Would you rather go to Guantanamo Bay? Would you rather go to prison, or would you rather have World War III, Mad Max, alien invasion? That's what I think. World War III.
That's a good question. A series of great questions. Now, this is the last moments of Jeffrey Epstein. We're showing right here the last moments of Jeffrey Epstein as he is walked across here. You're going to see the final movements, Jeffrey Epstein's final movements captured on surveillance video. All right, here we go. Here it is. Jeffrey Epstein in the orange jumpsuit. There he is right there. Lower left, and they are walking him through. This is Jeffrey Epstein's last walk to his cell. There he is in the jumpsuit. Was the last time he was alive. Food trays. More guards enter the area. This is after they discovered the body, presumably. And there you go. Those are the reported last moments. Now, we also have some Epstein tapes here. Some Epstein tapes regarding the Dalton School. And you're going to hear this. It is from an interview with David Bank from January of 2003.
I saw lots of people doing lots of hard work. And hard work didn't translate into success either. It wasn't what you knew or how hard you worked. In fact, the people who were doing construction on Telegraph Avenue at that time were, I remember seeing some people sort of really, coming in 7 o'clock in the morning, spending 12 hours working, and they still were neither happy nor successful. So it was not what you know. And what I learned in Dalton later, lots of it, in fact, turned out to not necessarily who you knew, but who you came in contact with.
So another section of these Epstein tapes from an interview that was done in 2003 by a gentleman who went all the way down to his island.
I saw it was physics.
He was in federal detention center in Manhattan.
A fixed number of rules, and you did experiments in physics that couldn't violate those rules. And if your experiment worked, you hit the target. Finance seemed to be a different metaphor for the same processes, but when you hit your target, you were able to fly first class to Paris.
That is a lot. And this one.
Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Donald Trump's administration is facing a full rebellion from the MAGA faithful, the most diehard, the people that spend all day online talking about Donald Trump. Some of the president's most strident supporters.
And there are many of those people. There are many people that spend all day online talking about a lot of things.
Are furious at his Department of Justice after concluded there would be no further disclosures of Jeffrey Epstein-related documents, and that, basically, everyone should just drop it and move on. This comes after his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, basically spent months hyping some sort of big reveal from the Department of Justice. Epstein, of course, the disgraced New York financier who died in federal custody back in 2019 while facing child sex trafficking charges related to what prosecutors says was a years-long scheme to abuse young women. A new memo from the DOJ reiterates the department's position that Epstein was not murdered, noting, quote, after a thorough investigation, FBI investigators concluded that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide in his cell. They even released nearly 11 hours of security camera footage from outside Epstein's cell that night of his death. Although that will likely do little to quell the ongoing conspiracies, especially considering the video is missing an entire minute. The DOJ attributes that to a long-standing glitch with the system. Despite all the Epstein didn't kill himself memes and the never-ending, increasingly Baroque conspiracies, the MAGA faithful are really mad about this part of the memo. Quoting it here. This systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. There was no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Now, that claim that there was no shadowy client list, ostensibly containing evidence that Epstein was secretly blackmailing political and financial and Hollywood elites, certainly seemed to contradict what Trump's own attorney general said on television back in February.
One of the things that you alluded to, and this is something Donald Trump has talked about, the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. She did just say
look at it just a little bit. You didn't look at it, Pam Bondi.
Say that, right? We just heard her correctly.
Come on.
Now her Department of Justice says no such list exists. But again, this wasn't just Pam Bondi misspeaking or speaking ambiguously, one-off remark. I mean, seriously, 4 months, this has been a drumbeat. She's promised some sort of big revelation from the documents. I mean, do you remember this? Back in February, the White House even held this big event with right-wing influencers sharing a bunch of what turned out to be previously reported in the public domain information. They had repackaged into a bunch of fancy binders, which they handed out to people. And so when the DOJ comes back basically yesterday and says, you know what, looked at it and turns out nothing to see here.
And that seems like it was just a photo op, you know?
Well, now that same right-wing media ecosystem is absolutely fuming.
The whole thing that this tape shows that he didn't kill himself is like a joke. But worse than that, it's a joke that we all get. Like, they're not fooling anybody. So I feel like we're at a dangerous point now.
So now by coming in and being part of the cover-up, the Trump administration has become part of it. I mean, it's just, you cannot see it any other way. So I just got to the office. I'm going to go throw up, actually. And this only happens every few years when something really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. Because
Alex, I'm going to need you to calm down, Alex. I need you to relax.
Because I have integrity. And
vitamin C with colloidal silver.
You know, I just really need the Trump administration to succeed
Your only
and
defense
save this
against
country. They're doing so much good.
Internet trolls.
And then for them to do something like this, tears my guts out.
Do you see
guts right out of me?
What you've done, Pam Bondi? You have made Alex Jones cry and possibly puke.
Alex Jones me crying in my car right now. I'm real disappointed in Trump. And, you know, we're selling a new vitamin supplement that's going to protect you from fluoride and all sorts of sun-based programming and MK Ultra. is going to protect you from all of it. I just want to show people who haven't seen this a very important clip that we're showing. This is a Jeffrey Epstein deposition.
I swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending should be the truth, the whole truth,
You do better.
and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you please state your full name?
I'm Jeffrey Edward Epstein, and my residence address is 6100 Red Hook Boulevard in Virgin Islands.
Do you maintain any other residences presently?
I have vacation homes in New Mexico,
This is a deposition.
Palm Beach, New York, and Paris.
Very important for people to see this. You get to
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes.
What was the crime of which you were convicted?
Two counts. One, soliciting prostitution and procuring a minor for prostitution.
Did you in fact commit those acts?
Watch
it. I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution?
Same answer.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution in the state of Florida?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution in the Virgin Islands?
Same answer.
That is, you are invoking your Fifth Amendment.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, Mr. Squirrel.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New York?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New Mexico?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in Paris?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution?
I'm not making fun of Alex Jones.
Anywhere at any time?
I'm going to assert my right.
Let's take another break. We're going to go through everything. So you are terminating the deposition at this time? The recess of the deposition.
What college did you attend?
Cooper Union.
Keep going.
And did you get a degree from Cooper Union?
No, sir.
Watch.
How many years were you in college?
I believe 2.
What'd you study?
Physics.
Well, isn't it true that you were a teacher at the Dalton School in New York after college? It's just unheard of. It's just an unbelievable scheme to have kept going for that long of a period of time. Do you consider yourself to be bisexual?
No.
Okay. In any event, you did develop a sexual relationship with Leslie Wexner at some point in time. Is that true?
No.
Mr. Epstein, how long have you been sexually attracted to underage minor females?
Objection, harassing, argumentative. Are you kidding?
Oh, I mean, I don't feel like I'm divulging any secrets here, right?
Move to strike.
Mr. Epstein, were you sexually abused as a minor?
Again?
Were you sexually abused as a minor?
Yeah, the Dalton School.
You know, I'd like to respond to all your, if any, questions seem to be relevant, but I would like to respond to any relevant question at this time. However, my attorneys have counseled me that I cannot provide answers to the questions relevant to this lawsuit today. I must accept their advice or risk losing my Sixth Amendment right to effective representation. Accordingly, then, I assert my Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment right to the United States Constitution.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Is it true, sir, that you have what's been described as an egg-shaped penis? I had hired psychologists to do a psychological profile on Jeffrey Epstein, what type of person he was, and what would actually get under his skin. What made him tick was that he was a narcissist. He had no ability to feel empathy and saw himself as the master of puppets, so to speak.
It's part of the lawsuit?
Yeah, I'll read it directly.
It was Jeffrey's birthday one.
On one of defendant Epstein's birthdays, a friend of defendant Epstein sent him 3 12-year-old girls from France who spoke no English for defendant to sexually exploit and abuse. After doing so, they were sent back to France the next day. Isn't that true?
Once again, I'm going to move to strike. Irrelevant, argumentative, harassing.
I would like to answer that question. I really would. However, today, my attorneys have told me I have to assert my Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, and 14th Amendment rights of the U.S. Constitution.
You're invoking your Fifth Amendment rights to each of these questions because you know that your answers will incriminate you and you feel that it will result in you being prosecuted for these crimes. Isn't that right?
Now, we have some exclusive footage, guys. I told you I had something that you've never seen before. All right? It's something you have never seen before, and it's right here. This is from O'Keefe Media Group. This is some unseen footage from inside the Epstein library. All right, so hit the like button, guys, and we are ready to run this right now.
Never before seen video and images from inside Jeffrey Epstein's former island home.
And thank you to O'Keefe Media Group. All right. Jeez, I thought I was subscribed already. Well, there you go. Subscribe to O'Keefe Media Group. They have a lot of this exclusive footage
showing bizarre statues and a cryptic message written on a chalkboard.
Look at that message on the chalkboard. This is on Epstein's chalkboard here. Huh. Interesting.
By Jeffrey Epstein himself. The Jeffrey Epstein Island, also known as Little St. James in the Virgin Islands. Last time we took you inside the kitchen to show that really creepy image of a baby in a sink.
That's
YouTubers
weird.
have snuck on the island. Luke Radowski, Tyler Olivier getting images of the outside of the structures. But today we're going to take you inside the structures, inside Jeffrey Epstein's library. We're going to take a closer look. Now, this has never been seen before. We are now inside the library. Dozens of books line
There
the
you
walls.
go. Inside the library. This is inside Jeffrey Epstein's library on the island.
Literature like
Little
Ernest
St.
Hemingway's
James.
Selected Letters, vacation reads such as Robert Ludlum's The Bourne Ultimatum, denser titles like The Golden Age of Theoretical Physics, and Salman Rushdie's Satanic Verses. Now,
A very controversial book by Salman Rushdie, written in the 80s.
closer inspection revealed unusual objects.
And there you go. You see some of the objects inside, some of the collectibles, if you will, in the Epstein library.
Statuettes of winged figures in plague masks, and one of a semi-nude young woman washing herself while seated on a bidet. Video and photos inside the library also show a horse whip, which is right here under the chalkboard, apparently crafted from leather and bones. And then we go to this chalkboard over here. Now, this chalkboard displayed cryptic words, including the word power, deception, mirror in face, dank brain, among others. Now, the chalkboard's message remains a mystery, and we're hoping that some of you in the audience can help decipher and ascertain what Epstein might be talking about.
Anybody have any idea what any of that would be?
Here, this is again right after he was arrested. We compared the words on the chalkboard to a note Epstein wrote in his prison cell before his death. Several letters and letter combinations from the note match those on the chalkboard, which leads us to believe they were in fact written by Jeffrey Epstein. And we're not sure what this means, but we're hoping you in the audience can take a look at this and tell us what you think he was trying.
Wow, look at this. Time, wow. I don't even want to know.
To say here, was it a message he was sending to the world? We're receiving a lot of images, videos, and photos as a result of our reporting. These sources reaching out to us include those within the government, people who don't trust anybody, including our own Department of Justice. These people are reaching out to us on Signal at 914-491-9395. We're currently corroborating the material, producing the material, backing it up on secure drives, and producing our very next Epstein report, which should come out tomorrow. The type of journalism that we do is not free. We just got sued yesterday. We have to hire lawyers to defend ourselves. As you know, we've been raided by the FBI. I've been arrested by the FBI. None of this is inexpensive. Our subscribers
He has been arrested by the FBI, in fact.
Reports first with exclusive behind the scenes
Regarding the Ashley Biden diaries.
footage coverage. By subscribing to O'Keefe Media, you allow us to be independent, free from advertising pressures or donor pressures, and you enable us to operate impartially and without fear. Subscribe to OMG today, and you will get our next Epstein report first via email. Stay tuned.
All right. So now what we're going to do is look at some new documents that give insight into Epstein's final days.
The Associated Press obtained about 4,000 pages of documents related to the death of Jeffrey Epstein at a federal jail in New York City. These documents really shed a light on what he was doing during that time. An initial suicide attempt, and then the day he took his life, where he was found unresponsive in his cell on August 10th, 2019. We learned that Jeffrey Epstein had gone through a series of aggravating events. He was upset that the toilet in his cell kept running and disrupted him from sleeping. He had sleep apnea and did not have the machine that would help him breathe at night. He complained about noise in the facility. He said that he felt like a coward, that he couldn't tolerate pain, and that he feared for his safety. The day before he was found dead, there was a release of about 2,000 pages of documents from a lawsuit against him alleging sexual abuse. And prison officials who created what's called a psychological reconstruction of his death, one of the documents we obtained, they said that all of those factors, the idea that he did not really have many friends, that his status in society, he was living a life of luxury and was suddenly behind bars, and this release of documents that further tarnished his image and his self-worth were contributing factors in why they believe he killed himself. One thing that stood out was we finally got a chance to see the prison mugshot.
There we see Jeffrey Epstein's mugshot, which is something that is unique. Let's pop this over here and expand. Come on. Come on. Jeffrey Epstein's mugshot. Wow. Look at that. Jeffrey Epstein's mugshot. That is unique for sure. Wow. That's pretty final right there. That's the last, some of the last pictures that he was that were taken of him, other than what we saw of him being led to his cell.
Was taken of Jeffrey Epstein. Now it's a little blurry, it's a little pixelated,
wow,
but it is the first time that we actually see Jeffrey Epstein in his orange prison jumpsuit. In fact, a jumpsuit that he complained about. He had to wear this specific color because he was on what's known as the special housing unit. There was concern within the prison that he was a high-risk inmate because of his notoriety, because of the infamy of his alleged crimes. He complained. He said that made him a target, that made him look like a bad guy, and he requested when he went to visit his lawyers that he be given a brown suit instead. But among these documents is that mugshot with Jeffrey Epstein in his orange jumpsuit. We also learned some interesting things about Jeffrey Epstein's behavior in these 36 days. He wrote a letter to Larry Nassar, the disgraced team doctor for the United States gymnastics team, of course, who was also accused and convicted, in his case, of abusing young athletes. We also learned that the night before Jeffrey Epstein was found dead, he excused himself from a visit with his lawyers, said that he wanted to call his family, and then told a jail officer that he was calling his mother. His mother at that time had been dead for 15 years.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So a lot of incredible stuff here. We're going to jump to another section. Hey, everybody. How you doing? How you doing? All right, we're going to jump right now to another part of the Epstein story. This is very important. And this is something we started to watch the other day about Ghislaine. All right, so this is Ghislaine Maxwell. This is a special that was done on ABC, and this is talking about the first photographer that photographed Ghislaine. All right, and we're going to start this for who? For who? For because this is what this is all about. Okay, these are the people that this is all about. Not some rich financial people.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here.
So what we're going to do is we are going to go to some of that footage in just a minute. But what we have here is some victim.
Welcome back to CBS This Morning. We are hearing from one of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged victims. Her name is Virginia Roberts Dufresne. In her first interview since Ghislaine Maxwell was denied bail this week, Maxwell is accused of helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls. Now, this is the first time that Maxwell has faced criminal charges in connection with Epstein, despite accusations against her that extend back more than 2 decades now. Dufresne claims Maxwell, along with Epstein, recruited, groomed, and abused her. She lives in Australia now. She's married with 3 children, and we talked to her yesterday. She told us that she thinks Ghislaine Maxwell should spend the rest of her life behind bars.
And she's saying that Ghislaine was much worse than Jeffrey.
She's a monster. She's worse than Epstein. She did things even worse than Epstein did. She was vicious, she was evil, and she's a woman.
Her lawyers have said Ghislaine Maxwell is not a Jeffrey Epstein, that she has been a victim of media spin.
They're doing their job, but I know that woman. I've known her really well. Put it this way. Epstein was Pinocchio, and she was Geppetto. She was the guy controlling
the strings?
Jeffrey. Yep, she was pulling the strings. She had his money. He had her contacts. But Ghislaine was much more conniving and smart than Epstein ever was.
Virginia Roberts Dufresne says she first met Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell when she was just 16, and alleges that she was forced to have sex with Britain's Prince Andrew on 3 separate occasions. She was 17 at the time.
And, you know, he's got a lot of problems of his own, old Prince Andrew.
He has denied that and says it's possible this picture with his arm around her waist.
And Prince Andrew claims that he doesn't know if this picture is even real. It's a copy of a copy of a copy is what Andrew says. And he cannot tell. They cannot get the anybody who's expert enough to say if this is a real photo.
Doctored.
Is there any way you could have had sex with that young woman or any young woman trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein in any of his residences?
No.
Prince Andrew should be panicking. He knows he's guilty. He needs to be held accountable. We need to show the world that the rich and the mighty can fall too.
Do you think that Ghislaine's life is in danger?
Absolutely. If she squeals on some of the people that she has videos on, they won't be happy with her talking about that.
And when you say that she has videos or she has knowledge of videos that exist about people like who? People well-known names?
Very well-known names.
And these are the videos, if they are in a position where they are harming anyone, whether they're a minor or not, those are the people that need to be held accountable. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. That's what we want to know. We don't want to know about the innocent people. We want to know who the guilty people are and let the guilty hang.
You know, the government officials, the politicians, the royalty, they were taping everybody every moment. When you walked into the New York mansion, to Palm Beach, everything was being filmed.
Do you think people knew they were being taped?
No, I do not.
And you know what? If they were committing crimes against vulnerable individuals, well, then it doesn't matter. It does not matter anymore.
Not at all.
Dufresne alleges Maxwell and Epstein were blackmailing the wealthy and the powerful. She says Maxwell's arrest marked a major turning point in the fight for justice.
Today, we announced charges against Ghislaine Maxwell.
And I believe that the crimes began financially and then turned into these trafficking, compromise, blackmail situations.
For helping Jeffrey Epstein sexually exploit and abuse multiple minor girls.
It was just surreal.
Disgusting.
It was momentous. It's one of those life moments that I'll never forget.
Virginia, how did you meet her and what was her pitch to you?
I'm working at Mar-a-Lago, loving it. I'm working in the spa area. I was reading about anatomy and massage, and that's when Ghislaine came up to me and said, "Oh my God, you're reading a book about massage." And, you know, long story short, she told me that she knew of a man who was looking for a traveling masseuse. And if he liked me, then I would get educated and I would become a real massage therapist. So, yeah, I mean, it was a dream of a lifetime until I got there, and the abuse was immediate.
It has been reported that they would prey on young girls who were vulnerable.
She could smell the vulnerability on a person. I told them a little bit about my past and how I'd been abused. So immediately it was like the Cheshire smile is what I call it. And I asked her, I said, why are you having all these girls come in and sleep with your boyfriend? And she was like, so I don't have to do it all the time. You know, so she made like a joke out of it.
Why do you think she did it?
Well, I mean, Ghislaine had Jimmy Savile type powers with the palace, it seems.
She did it to keep Jeffrey happy, for sure. She did it because she loves the control over people. Jeffrey was a sick pedophile, but she was the mastermind.
What would justice look like for you when it comes to Ghislaine Maxwell?
Oh, boy.
I would like to see Ghislaine stay in jail forever. I would like her to apologize for what she's done to me and so many others.
When Jeffrey Epstein took his own life, many of the victims/survivors felt that they had been robbed,
Wow.
that they did not get their day in court.
It would have been great to look at him in court and say, you know, you hurt me, you took away my innocence, you took away my youth, but he took that away from us too. I'm really hoping we get to do this with Ghislaine.
Does the buck stop with Ghislaine Maxwell, in your opinion?
No, the buck stops when every single monster gets held accountable and our children are safe. Not just my monsters, but all the monsters. And we need everyone's help.
Wow. And we need everyone's help. So back over to Ghislaine's brother, who about, you know, just to get back and finish this off right here. We're going to finish off this footage of Jeffrey Epstein.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Series of deposition clips. We're going to finish
Please
this up.
state your full name.
This clip right here, we're going to finish this
I'm
up.
Jeffrey Edward Epstein, and my residence address is 6100 Red Hook
Jeffrey
Boulevard
Epstein
in Virgin
deposition.
Islands.
Do you maintain any other residences presently?
I have vacation homes in New Mexico, Palm Beach, New York, and Paris.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes.
What was the crime of which you were convicted?
Two counts, one soliciting prostitution and procuring a minor for prostitution.
Did you in fact commit those acts?
I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution?
Same answer.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution in the state of Florida?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution in the Virgin Islands?
Same answer.
That is, you are invoking your Fifth Amendment?
Yes,
right.
Yes, Mr. Squirrel.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New York?
Same answer.
Have you ever
One of the many
solicited for
depositions that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in. These were not just criminal matters. They were civil cases as well.
Prostitution in New Mexico?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in Paris?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution anywhere at any time?
Again, I'm going to assert my right.
Let's take another break. We're going to go through everything. So you are terminating the deposition at this time? The recess of the deposition.
What college did you attend?
Cooper Union.
And did you get a degree from Cooper Union?
Thank you very much. Thank you for this.
How many years were you in college?
I believe 2.
What'd you study?
And this is the Jeffrey Epstein deposition.
Physics.
Well, isn't it true that you were a teacher at the Dalton School in New York?
Very rare
after
footage
college.
here.
It's just unheard of. It's just an unbelievable scheme to have kept going for that long of a period of time. Do you consider yourself to be bisexual?
No.
Okay. In any event, you did develop a sexual relationship with Leslie Wexner at some point in time. Is that true?
No.
Mr. Epstein, how long have you been sexually attracted to underage minor females?
Objection, harassing, argumentative.
Are you kidding?
I mean, I don't feel like I'm divulging any secrets here, right?
Move to strike.
Mr. Epstein, were you sexually abused as a minor?
Wait, again?
Were you sexually abused as a minor?
You know, I'd like to respond to all your, if any, questions seem to be relevant, but I would like to respond to any relevant question at this time. However, my attorneys have counseled me that I cannot provide answers to the questions relevant to this lawsuit today. I must accept their advice or risk losing my Sixth Amendment right to effective representation. Accordingly, then, I assert my Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment right to the United States Constitution.
And this is where we
Would you
see
raise your
it.
right hand, please?
This is where we see it. It's this part where we see the evil face.
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Is it true, sir, that you have what's been described as an egg-shaped penis?
Egg-shaped what?
I had hired psychologists to do a psychological profile on Jeffrey
So
Epstein.
the attorney hired a psychologist to help him put the questions together to see the things that were really going to get to him, right?
What type of person he was and what would actually get under his skin. What made him tick was that.
Look at that. See, there it is. That's it. That's one of them. Oof. Good Lord. Lord of mercy.
He was a narcissist. He had no ability to feel empathy and saw himself as the master of puppets, so to speak. Sir, one witness described your penis as oval-shaped and claimed when erect it was thick towards the bottom but was thin and small towards the head portion and called it egg-shaped. Those are not my words, I apologize. But as Mr.
We hit 11,000 subscribers. Thank you. So awesome. Thank you, guys.
The 14th Amendment rights of the U.S. Constitution.
You're invoking your Fifth Amendment rights to each of these questions because you know that your answers will incriminate you and you feel that it will result in you being prosecuted for these crimes. Isn't that
I'm
right?
all ears.
Objection, argumentative.
I am all ears.
Harassing.
See, look, there it is. This is the, hold on. This is our mascot right here. This is our mascot. Now you guys get to see it. I'll show you every once in a while. There's the mascot.
And calls for a legal conclusion.
No, in fact, the Supreme Court recently said that the Fifth Amendment right is there to protect the innocent. So,
and he is sitting there saying that the Fifth Amendment right is to protect the innocent. Oh, boy. Thank you so much, guys.
Are you released from jail at some time? Do you have to report back to jail on a daily basis?
Yes, I report back to jail at 8 p.m.
Every single day?
And we do an absolutely uncensored Rumble show at night, so you guys might enjoy that as well.
And is it 7 days a week that you're out on work release?
No, sir.
Because you could say anything you want over in that Rumble chat. Anything goes. You know what I'm saying?
How many days a week are you out?
Dark Tony on Rumble.
On work release?
6.
We got a show at 7 o'clock tonight is our Rumble show.
And of those 6 days, how many hours per day are you out on work release?
12.
We're back on the video record at 12:02 p.m.
Let's talk about Jane Doe 102.
You feel he's still alive and well, yeah? Saudi Arabia. Interesting stuff. Israel, interesting things. Interesting thoughts.
Virginia Roberts. Do you know Virginia Roberts?
See, everybody's voice matters on this channel.
So she's, again, who?
Virginia Roberts.
Can you spell it?
Common spelling. Virginia, like the state.
Can you spell it for me, please?
Roberts.
How's it? What's the last name? How's it spelled?
Oh my gosh. How's it spelled?
Roberts, I believe.
Isn't it true that you and Ghislaine Maxwell celebrated her 16th birthday with her and had sex with her on that day?
Form, compound, confusing, argumentative, and harassing.
I'd like to answer that question.
For the $5 super sticker.
I'm going to have to assert my Sixth Amendment rights, my Fifth Amendment rights.
And here's, and here's what we like to do. Yeah. $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, Coco.
That you forced Virginia Roberts to have sex with numerous friends of yours.
Are you kidding?
Okay, well, we'll see about we'll see about some of what we have to see about, I'm sure.
Donald Trump and his administration.
Hold on a second here. We were back on. Is the yacht that he fell off of and mysteriously drowned. This yacht is named.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos.
Ghislaine after, and that is right after her father's death. So what we're going to do here is we are going to go over to another part of that special. And this is from that special called Notorious. We're going to jump back into this proper frame right here. And a little bit more about Ghislaine. This is part 2. We are going to be watching more of these as this series. He got the Daily News in New York. And this is Ghislaine's father.
At his side was his daughter, Ghislaine.
Now you can see the levels of power that this goes to. This is much for coming out. I want to thank the mods, all the new subscribers, everybody who liked and shared. Welcome to the ZDT experience. That's what they call me, ZDT. You can call me Tony, just don't call me too early in the morning. We will be having a little after show, and I'm going to see everybody on the next one. Thank you so much for joining me.